it's everything I did it, as everything I do as a developer, a web developer, is you look at everything. You don't look at one tiny thing and oh, that's it. That's everything right there. That one small thing. No, it's the entire overall, scope. That's why you write a scope of work, yeah. Anyways, let's see. That host is going. Let's see. Let me tweet out this live now. What did you say? Get that Janzer off my Twitter. No one cares about that though. We'll find. We got to find a better one. I'll put it for now. Honestly, it's not like, I don't know. Sometimes those things bring in, views or whatever, like titles for things, because it's stuff that's searched. It's like, what is this? But other times it's just, the podcast is only going to get so much coverage based on who shares it, That's really what it comes down to. And going on 66, I was feeling earlier going on, in my day, going on 66, I am here. Going on episode 66, I honestly feel like 70 is the stopping point. I'm not really sure, but I feel that looking at numbers, looking at overall participation, and it was funny because Graham said something interesting to me the other day, because I said something like, well, I don't know about like the whole B3 thing. I was like, I feel like I could be doing better. I could have done better with the community, because I could feel like you have to, in order to have these kinds of communities, you have to, I've probably said it before, you have to be a charismatic person, number one, right? Where you can just draw people in for no reason whatsoever. Or you have to have boundless energy where you're excited about everything all the time. And that's not me. I'm either of those things at different points, but not all the time. And it's hard to do all that myself, which is your hopes when you start a community are to pull in people that can help you with that stuff, right? Hence the quote unquote fanatics, right? Go look up Guy Kawasaki's book on his stint working at Apple to get what I'm referencing there. B3 GamingCast episode 66. Get that Janzer off my Twitter is what Phil says I should title it, so I put it at that for now. We'll see if we come up with a better one, something more hyperbolic that'll piss people off and get people to click on and listen to the podcast. Anyways, this is your host as always, Janzer, and we have Mr. Philemon Grundy.
Hey, and yeah, I heard that Janzer guy on Twitter is worse than ISIS.
See, I called you Mr. Philemon Grundy because that's how I feel I want to run a podcast. That's like, if I'm doing any kind of show, that's my personality. I'm going to call you that, or I would call Mr. Graham, I might do something like that because that's deep down in my core. That's how I treat people, so that's what that's what comes out when I'm not putting on a persona. So, anyways, so yeah, let's talk about some video game stuff. I was twittering and talking about the Hawkins and the Destiny 2 betas, and apparently I came across an article for Destiny 2 that said, number one, the beta begins for people who have the pre-order. Stroke, apparently having a stroke, who pre-ordered the game on August 28th, which would be me, PC people, and it's going to open up to the public on the 29th. So the pre-order people get a day early, Destiny 2 PC beta specifically. The beta is going to end on the 31st, so you get 3 days total to play if you're a pre-order person. Destiny 2 officially launches on PC on October 24th, which I don't believe until it actually occurs, because it's for PC and it's the last thing on the list. So the odds that it's going to get pushed out are very high, because that's the state of PC gaming right now, is that things are going to be pushed back because they're going to be, it's just what it is. Look at PUBG. PUBG's like, yep, end of the year. Also, those maps we're talking about, yeah, we're delaying those a bit too. They talked about a bunch. Yeah. This is a huge article that I read about that stuff too.
But they also released the specs, PC specs, right, as well.
Yeah, I didn't want to bother listing all that because I was like, it's
So I shouldn't
numbers.
say.
Yeah, I mean, either
Yeah.
or go look it up. But they were pretty low from what I could see, like a GTX 660.
660.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people
And
don't
an
even know.
i3.
Even streamers, even some streamers don't even know what equipment they have, Phil. So that's
Yeah,
why
but
you
it's
see
still-
why I
it's
made the
still good.
decision to not give a shit.
Yeah, but it's not good to give all the information.
Is it? Well, I'm glad GameSpot did it for me. Hey, go to that website, as Phil would say.
Oh god.
You want to know the
purposely
specs?
went-
Go to Destiny 2's website.
I purposely went and looked up the heroes in Fortnite so I
Fortnite.
could talk about a little bit about them.
Good.
Because I felt guilty just saying, "Oh, go to the website." And
Don't
I know you
feel
go, "Rub it in,
guilty."
just rub it in.
Feel good, man. Feels good. Okay, sorry, inside joke. I was gonna say feel self-righteous. That's how I feel. Go look it up yourself. Anyway, yeah, along with the Destiny 2 base PC beta, I saw like a title for an article that said that the developers had to remove like some difficult section of the early part of the game with some 2 turbines that spin in a circle, and you had to go shoot power core underneath. You had to dodge the turbines basically. I watched a hardcore Destiny player who had been playing that game since time out of mind, Granite Gem, do that. I watched Gramton Triad, who is just a really good gamer and doesn't realize it, do that, and he didn't really have any difficulties. So those are 2 different walks of life. He had played Destiny, but he's not really like a super fan of it. He's more of a like, I'll take it for what it is. I'm not a super fan, but I'm also not going to shit all over it either. I would just call it as it is, and that's it. He's not going to be hyperbolic one way or the other. And then I watched these guys, Achievement Hunter, of which there's one of them that's around my age, Jeff. Jeff is kind of an idiot and kind of bad at video games. It sounds familiar, huh? And so I kind of associate a bit with him. And but they've played Destiny like they play Destiny. They like playing Destiny. And they were able to do the section, and there was nothing special like there. They weren't like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. But the devs foresaw that it could be an issue for some players, so they took it out of the actual final version of the game, which is not out yet, but the beta version still had it in there. And one of the developers was like, I was kind of surprised that it was there because, it's just, I thought we had taken it out. So it's kind of a little bit of a fuck up there, clearly. But I was kind of like taking a hyperbolic look at it, because what else is Twitter for? And I was like, I can't believe gamers are so soft nowadays, And on one hand, I do actually believe that. A lot of things are really, really easy in games now. Even some of the Dark Souls stuff, you go through and you kind of like, once you die, you already know what the trick is, so just avoid it. Then it's not about like it's more about like execution and understanding the bullshit of the AI, what kind of bullshit they can pull. Because, but outside of that, I don't really know that games are super, super hard. There are some that they really strive to be, but a game like Destiny 2 cannot be that way until you get to like something like a raid. That's where its difficulty really is going to come up. And it has to be very simplistic and very like welcoming to plebs, because it needs to pull in a big player base in order to make money. That's the whole point. I understand the marketing. I understand the predictive changes that they might do. That doesn't mean that it has to sit well with me personally, And that does mean that I can have the opinion that, what is this, like lowering the difficulty just because they think that a few people might find, outrunning a turbine or dodging a turbine difficult. It's like, it's barely I was talking to somebody on Twitter. He was like, well, to be fair, this was a dev-made change and all that stuff. And he's right. And he was like, it's some platforming, and people are not good at platforming. Raising my hand right now. I'm not amazing at platforming.
I suck at it too.
Yeah, and he was like, I'm really good at Dart, I'm really amazing. What did he say? Something like, I'm super great at like Soulsborne. It was like, okay, no one gives a shit. But, I'm not really good at like Bullet Hell. And I was like, okay, I get what you're trying to say, that people are good at different genres. I'm saying that based on that section of the game that I watched, that was not a quote unquote, quote, hard platforming section. It was a basic, can you move around and jump if needed kind of thing. It was not a Super Meat Boy kind of fucking platforming section, And I was like, look, toddlers play Mario. Mario is one of the most basic games that ever came out. And toddlers are one of the most basic human beings that ever came out. So if the two of the most basic things that ever existed can kind of coexist and do things, I think that, it's not that hard, but yes, I'm being a little hyperbolic there. But at the same time, I'm like, it's not that bad. My point was, it's silly to do that, but at the same time, I do understand why they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So some could say, well, why are you even making this like any kind of a topic? We're talking about video games. You understand we're all wasting our time, right? So, I mean, it's all a big waste of time. You just choose how you want to waste it in the video game realm, So, yeah. That's my Destiny 2 talk. Looking forward to it, by the way. I pre-ordered it, all paid for and everything. I don't really know how to start a clan, because they make that whole clan system fucking weird and screwed up and fucked. And if you go to like, they put a page out there telling you, if you have a clan now, or you could change it into a group, but if you have a group and you clan group clan, but only one has 100, and I was like, what? So I also don't know if you have to start the clan on Destiny's website, or if there's going to be something in Blizzard's app. Like, I don't know what's tied together, because on one hand, if you started on Destiny's website or on Bungie's website, you have to have a Microsoft account and you have to have an Xbox account. But I'm like, wait a second, what about my BattleNet like app account? How does that tie into that? How does it know? Like, how is that going to work? So I think I'm going to wait to make a clan.
I know that they had a recent issue. Basically, they had something where you could tie the two accounts together.
Yeah.
But it was actually erasing people's previous accounts. So,
oh god.
Yeah, but it was a matter of how you did it. I think that people I think it was a miscommunication or people misreading stuff, and then it merged and erased one account. So maybe it wasn't worded right, or maybe people just kind of skimmed over it, which I'm guilty of doing myself sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
So, but I think that they're going to have something sorted out by the time. I would hope that they have something sorted out as well by the time the game comes out. So it's probably going to be something where you could just merge the two into one thing or something.
Yeah, being said, for people that already are fully invested in the Destiny everything, they probably figured it out. And they're probably on console anyways, because they probably own multiple copies of the game or whatever. But for those of us that are coming to the game from the PC side specifically that don't own an Xbox account, because why would I? I don't have an Xbox. I don't care about that. I just barely got a Microsoft account so I could download the free version of Gears of War, for the trial period. But other than that, I'm afraid to like do anything with that now, because I'm like, shit. I don't want like one account I don't want to lock the clan name that I want down to nothing. I want to make sure it's tied in, but I don't see how it's going to be tied in yet. So therefore, I'm going to wait. The other part is I don't want to do the work researching all this shit, because it shouldn't be a big deal. It's an expensive game. It's a big company. This goes back to the whole sales with GameStop thing, where I was like, okay, they didn't have their, the PC side of things laid out. Like, what about us PC players? Are we going to have like an account? Do we have to make an account? Like, that's why I made an Xbox Live account, actually. I made an Xbox Live account so I could sign up to the Destiny thing, so I could set up a clan. But then I was like, oh shit, I better stop. So it's just a big mess. It's like they haven't fully laid everything out yet, and I feel like you just need to wait. Give it a minute. Unless you have like some amazing Destiny guide out there, that's like, I will show you all the things, But that doesn't exist for me, so I'm just gonna wait, give it a minute, and see what happens.
I do like that they're also allowing people that have a pre-ordered the game a chance to get like 2 days.
1 day.
Out of these 3 days is 1 day?
They get 1 day
1 day?
before it's opened up to the public. So they get to play on the 28th, PC players, and the public gets to play on the 29th. And so, yeah, they get 1 day extra.
Right. No, I was saying that you get 3 days, right, to play if you since you pre-ordered it, or is it 4?
Looks like 4. Ends on the 31st.
Okay, so then,
we get 1 day of time extra. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I still think it's great that they allow people who haven't bought it to have an open beta for everybody. Like I can go and play it because I haven't pre-ordered the game.
Oh yeah. You're saying that it's great that they have open beta. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
It only benefits development if they do such a thing. Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've never been. I mean, I've seen Destiny, but as long as the game is on console, I'm not really interested because I don't have a console. I'm not looking to buy one. Mm-hmm. But I might get interested in the game just from playing the beta when it comes out.
Yeah, everything I've seen looks top notch to me. I've heard opinions that are like, "Oh my God, it's the best thing ever. I came 50 times," and then I've heard the other side where I don't care. It's fine, I guess. I'm not like hype about it. And then I've heard the other side who are like, "Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, I see some problems here, whatever. Blah blah blah. Oh man, I really hope they fix that. Blah blah blah. Like a more balanced." I've seen the range.
Yeah.
And everything I've seen looks great. So that's my opinion of it. That's it. But, once again, my personal opinion looks fine to me. Looks great. Looks like everything I was expecting and nothing that I didn't expect. So when I actually play the game, then I'll actually get a chance to feel what the mechanics are like, in my hands. Because that's one thing that I had a complaint about with Titanfall 2 was that the Titan felt not grounded. It didn't feel weighty, unlike the original Titans that actually had weight to them, or at least the Ogre Titan, which is the one I played the most. Like it felt like a machine that you were, fucking walking around the city. Titanfall 2, it felt like you're floating around, So I was like, huh. But that happened to be, and also, I don't know if I want to get into that now or not, but yeah, Titanfall 2, might as well. Titanfall 2 came out with its Frontier Defense, and I've had an amazing time with it. I was like, oh man, I'm on top of the world. This is the best thing ever. I'm streaming it daily, all that. Man, I did some great plays. And then last night, I had a game mentality changing strike to my gamer ego when Gramaton Triad drops in chat, "Lol, these guys are so bad. I carried the team. Lol, look how good I am." He had like a 6,000 score, and he's like, "I don't even play the game. Man, my back's so tired because I carried everyone." I'm like, Graham, your score's higher than anything I've seen. I don't think that you know how good you are as a player. Here's another thing I found out. There's only so many points you can get in a map when you play. So he must have been playing like on a harder difficulty, because I went back and looked at other scores that I had that's how much I was like, holy shit, I suck. I was like, I don't ever get that. I get like maybe 2,000 something. Usually I'm in like the low 2,000s or 1,000 some odd to, whatever. But if you watch me streaming, I don't do, well, maybe my perspective's wrong, but I don't feel like I do that horrible of a job. There's some times where I die a lot because I'm trying to do very specific things that are actually kind of complex that have nothing to do with just killing. But that's because I'm putting myself in great danger as a pilot to do something. It's like a high risk, but it would be a high reward kind of scenario, But yeah, I was like, oh my God, I feel ashamed. Thank you for making me feel like an old man. I feel like I should not stream it anymore because it's like, look at the doddering old man on the battlefield. Well, isn't that special? But jokes aside, and I am joking. I'm joking. I think people look at some of the things that I say like that as like super negative and whatever. No. I'm joking. This is how I am as a human being. If I don't joke like that, I would be like super bitter or angry, and I would not play games at all, because you can't play games like that for long, No, I enjoy the game. You recognize what your limitations are or what your strengths are, and you play the video games and you have a good time or you don't. And when you don't, that's when you're the super salty, no one wants to play with you on teams because all you do is rage, that kind of thing. But anyways, the game mode is really good. I had a great time doing it. I look forward to continue to playing more of Frontier Defense. And I think the network I have is B3G, and it's 9 p.m. Central Standard Time because I'm in Texas. So whatever Texas time is, I think that's Central Standard. I don't know when it changes to like Central whatever leap year time, or I don't fucking care. Anyways, Google is a wonderful thing that was created, in case you're not aware of things. But if you want to join me, it's 9 p.m. Central. And you get those double rewards. By the way, they're doing a double XP, but by the time this thing comes out, it's no one's going to care because it'll already be over. I'm not going to be talking about the things that happen like over the weekend anymore, because by the time the podcast comes out, it's Monday or Tuesday. So it's only beneficial to people that are on the live stream in chat, and that's very limited. And they're usually part of the B3 group anyways, so they'll have heard about it.
So question though.
Yes, sir.
I know you played a crap ton of Frontier Defense on the first Titanfall.
Oh, I was a
god. How does it compare in Titanfall 2? I
was a god in Frontier Defense on Titanfall 1. I knew that ogre, I knew that loadout, and I could customize it exactly how I wanted. I if you don't remember, but I used to hit, like towards the end of it, I could not, there was no way I was not MVP. I was always just MVP in that. In the new one, you have more Titans. I think there's like 6 now or something like that. There's a lot more Titans now. They all have different kits. They all do move differently and stuff like that. Like, I went back and played a game last night after the live stream because I was like, man, why can't I be that good? And so I was like, what's going on? So I went back and I played the original Titan that I skipped over because you play him, like, I think the first time you play actually I had never played that original Titan. You play part of his kit during story mode, but see, in story mode that Titan morphs into different like things, So I hadn't actually played that original Titan, which is named, gosh, I don't even know what it's named. Let me look. Titanfall 2. But he comes out, he has a really cool gun that like melts people. It's pretty fucking amazing. And I was like, oh, if I had this gun, I think I would have killed a lot more Titans, And his movement, he's got a nice double dash. He's got great movement. He's got a great kit for destruction, especially for like an intro Titan. I was like, okay, this is the guy. This is why he's an intro Titan, because he's really easy to play in the sense that he gives you, they give you a lot with him. There's less of a challenge of like, I need to make this happen, and more of a, I'm just going to execute, You don't have to really plan a lot there. He just has the damage. So I think it's called Ion is what it is. But yeah, his main gun is this thing that like, it shoots out some kind of like sparks or something like that. And you can also, like in zoomed mode, it actually widens it horizontally. So it hits more in a line, So it's like, wow, okay, so you're just going to make it better because it hits more? Okay, that's cool. And then he has like this really awesome laser mounted cannon that is extremely accurate and is like immediate hit and does a lot of damage. It like destroys those little Reaper Titans, the little like midget Titans or whatever, that run around shooting laser bolts or whatever. It destroys them in like one shot, for example.
You mean Little People Titans?
Little People Titans, sure. So, yes, Daikini Titans, all right, fine. So we're doing, that's from, gosh, what was that from? Oh, that's from, oh no, I gotta look at, Daikini, let me look it up. No, wait, are Daikini or humans? I don't know what Willow was, but I think the Daikini are humans. Human. Yeah, that is the human. Damn it! I was trying to be a cool guy. Never mind. Anyways, those are little Willow Titans. Shit. Mad Board again. Sorry. Okay, I'll stop. But it's a really solid Titan. I got like MVP with that thing when I played it. I was like, oh, okay, this is a really great Titan. And if you pair it together with a weapon that's really powerful, you'll probably do really well too. Like there's this one LMG called the Devotion that got a lot of flack because it's like the more you fire it, the more laser-like its precision gets. So yeah, people were sniping with it apparently. But my point being is you can pick weapons and gear that are going to benefit you. And why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you? Unless you happen to be named Janzer. That's when you're like, what's this weapon over here? Standard issue rifle. Nothing special about it. I'll take it. Or very nuanced type gameplay. I like those things because to me, that's where my challenge level lies. It doesn't lie in just, I'm going to take the most powerful chain gun in the world and mow down. Of course you are. Of course I could. Everybody could. And this is not saying what's that?
I say it's true because I made a not a very powerful, but a very decent weapon for you in Fortnite. And you're like, okay, I'm going to use this weapon I just got. That's way less powerful.
Cool looking. Well, but they were both cool looking. And hey, it turned out that weapon you made for me, I couldn't even use right anyway.
No,
remember? I was like, hey, why can't I do the moveset the way you do? Oh, and you're like, oh, it's something you probably have to unlock. And so, it worked out. But no, it's, sometimes I don't always make decisions based on the stats is what it comes down to, So, and I'm not saying that that's why I didn't do as well, or that's why Graham did it well at all. But I do know that Graham, when he plays, he is very by the numbers, very realistic, this makes a lot of sense to do this. Why would you do that?
It's also we're a more aggressive player than we are.
Well, he's very aggressive and he's very tactical, and he very, very much breaks down like, well, you do this and you do this and you do this, that is almost the opposite of how I play now. That's not a bad way to do things, but that's how you win. That's it's doing the right things you need to do in order to win. And I don't think he's like that all the time, but I do tend to do stuff like things that, and maybe it's because I've been playing video games for so long, that, it's like I used to make a joke playing Warframe. It's like, okay, I'm bored. Bring out the goats, because we're going to have some goat play now because I don't know what else to do to get it hard. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Exactly. So, like doing a Cestus run in Dark Souls, and then it's not even, but I guess it's because, once again, it's like, even with that, there's still some limitations. I'm not the guy playing on the Rock Band drum and beating Dark Souls, Yeah. That's skill matched with kink. Is what it is. But I don't know. I'm my own gamer, and we're all our own gamer. And I will say that score in Titanfall in Frontier Defense actually does not fully equate a win. A win comes from achieving the objective, which is not allowing the harvester to get destroyed. I was in games where we had people that would have shitloads of Titans that they killed, but we died because they didn't achieve the objective, which was to not let the harvester get destroyed. And that usually came from mortars. People were not going out to get mortars. Or everyone was aggressively going out to get mortars, and nobody was defending against, the ants, the people that were running up on the Titan, or the little Reapers, all the little things that nobody wanted to deal with because they wanted the points from the Titan kills, So I'm in the age of a gamer where I see I'm a general, I see the entire battlefield, and I will take that lower, quote unquote, lower tier role in order to make sure that the objective gets completed, And that's hard. It's harder to pull everybody up than it is to just pull at the to just do one objective, which is kill. That's true. And there's nothing wrong with you need a killer roamer on the field. You absolutely do, but you can't have everybody do it, you know? Sometimes you can. They call it death balling or whatever, but it's not always the most beneficial. And I think that type of gameplay tends to get people bored quicker because there's less to actually do. There's less tactical plan. There's less going on. It's just do the one thing. Did you do the one thing? We did the one thing. Okay, we're done. Do you want to do it again? Not really. I mean, look how well we beat it. You know? So it's, I don't know. I just think more about games, I guess. So
I think it's also kind of a younger mentality as well too. Not
could be
definitely not knocking younger people, but like I look at
when you mention people. What
you mentioned, like, oh, who has the best, you know, individual score does not mean that you're gonna win the game. And when you said that, I thought about back when Michael Jordan was playing against the Celtics with Larry Bird.
Yeah,
he scored 63 points. Now, if you scored 63 points, automatically you think, well, he won the game. No, they lost.
Yeah,
because everybody else on the other team did not score 63 points, but they contributed in every single way that they were supposed to contribute. Like how, you know, like how you said generals, they looked at the situation and said, look, this person's going to score regardless. But if we shut down everyone else and we score,
right,
we're going to win. So they played their role. They saw, you know, everybody's running off to go and fight these things that you said. I'm going to hang back and defend this, the drone.
Oh, yeah.
And effectively it's going to work. You know it's going to work because they have years of experience as opposed to him. And then when you look at him in the later years, he was more willing to dish the ball to somebody to win. So I do. You
start
that,
seeing the entire battlefield instead of just like, I see this one point of destruction that I can take, and I can do this, and I can do it really well. You know, later on, you're like, I see that one point of destruction that I could take, and I could do that really well. Now I also see how this other teammate's struggling a bit. I think I can help him out at the same time. Now I also see how this other thing needs to be achieved and nobody's taking care of it. Rather than yelling at everybody, I'm not going to type, chat, yell at everybody. I'm going to actually take care of that too. Now it turns out that I can't do everything super effectively all the time anymore, but I can do a lot of things, you know?
Yep. And that's what you will see too, like in competitive sports. Not that the person is older, because a lot of people now are young, are very young, that the people who have gained a certain level of experience, they don't just dive in and try to get more skills out of it. They can also see that, oh shoot, you know, this team has made a counter to what we do.
Yep.
How do we adjust? Most people will just keep butting their heads and just keep going, you know, because with the lack of experience. But people who look at the game, see the game, think about, you know, the different situations will come out more on top because they can adjust to when things aren't going their way. And there will be times when things don't go your way. But I find with a lot of games, like with the Frontier Defense, or even like when we play in Paragon, people just have one specific mode that they go for. And then you will see when they jump into like the PvP aspect of like Paragon or something else like that, that they get crushed. Yeah. So they got to put everything, if they do want to get better at it, then they got to take everything and put it back on the shelf and start over fresh and realize you can't just go in gun-ho, even though you're really good at doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. What usually ends up happening, though, is I'm doing my job effectively. You suck. That's usually what happens. And, you know, here's the thing, though. Graham plays ESO, you know, Realm versus Realm, whatever they call it. I call it Realm versus Realm. So he knows. He's seen this. It's not that he doesn't see this stuff. He's used to managing a lot of things data-wise. I know I've seen him play other games. I've heard him talk about other games. So this is not a knock against him at all. But I have played, like when I played Titanfall 1 and was MVP, killing like 20, 30, 40, whatever it was, Titans, and we would still lose. I remember live streaming and on more than one occasion saying, what else could I have done? I mean, look at all the things I killed. What else could I have done? I did it. Look at all the things I did. Like, I killed all this shit and we still lost, you know, because that's the mentality of like, not like, yeah, you did an amazingly effective job, but it still wasn't enough because 2 or 3 other people weren't able to execute whatever they were trying to do, whatever it was, you know. And I find a lot of times in Titanfall 2, Frontier Defense, where you get this thing where where everybody's trying to do the exact same. Everyone wants to kill the Titans. It's great. It's fun. I appreciate that. But at the same time, they have no map awareness, so they all group up on one fucking Titan. It's the dumbest. Yeah. It's like, and then in the meantime, these flying things come by and start zapping the shit out of the harvester, and then we lose. Because it's those flying things. It's the little guys on the ground that are from like little ants everywhere. It's the reapers that are jumping around. It's the ticks, these little cans of like explosives that run up and they chip away at the harvester's shield. They just chip away at it little by little. But see, they're doing it. The little humans are doing it. The reapers are shooting their plasma bolts at it. And the flying things that sweep by are doing it as well. Everything's chipping away. And if you throw in there the mortars that nobody's paying attention to because everybody's trying to get their 1 or 2 kills on the closest Titans that they can see, then that's called game over, man. And especially because they're like, oh, well, that's Titan's really close. And I see somebody, attacking it, but I want to get the kill. So I'm going to go at it too. Or I could go across map and clear out those mortars, but that means I lost out on the kill. Yeah, but you're going across map. You're going to get the kills. Just go do the job. It needs to be done. Or everybody does the opposite. I'm going to go out there and get all those, and nobody takes care of all the, things at the fucking base. Happened to me last night. Yeah.
Do you gain any personal achievements from getting like a certain amount of Titan kills or anything in those game modes, or?
They give you rewards for like points and stuff like that. I don't know if there's like there might be achievements. There's so many things that I have not unlocked in Titanfall 2 that every game I play, it's like, hey, you got this thing and another thing and another thing, and I'm like, all right, cool. I don't know if there's any achievements in the game. There might be, but once again, it comes back to that. I kind of don't. Those are like so non-essential to my purpose of playing the game that like my ultimate joy in playing a team defense kind of game is having it work well. That's it. Yeah. The amount of Titans I kill is a neat thing. The amount of things I kill, that's neat. But having, like, let's say, for example, proper rotation, fluid rotation with Titans, proper, like, people actually watching map and getting good coverage. I talked about this on the stream, and I used to talk about it in other games. I think probably, like, defense for Warframe. I was like, there's a simple concept in basketball. I don't know where else they use it, but I know they use it in basketball, and it's called zone defense. And it's such a fucking simple thing. Stick to your fucking zones. Yeah, you can rotate if you need to. That's not a problem. But, how you're going to effectively control, like, let's say a team that can move the ball really well is by staying in your zones. But if everybody's trying to run after the ball and the ball's moving around faster than you are, because it is going to, it's a ball and it can be thrown faster than you can run. And those players are moving around, and you can't. Trying to track every movement and predict where everything is going to be is so much more work than sticking in your zones and taking care of what's in your actual zone. The problem with that in online games is, but I didn't get as many kills as someone else.
Yeah.
Rotate next time. That's all you got to do. Just next time rotate. But people don't want to think about that.
I do find that more so when it comes to public games, like you can get a set of public players. Like if you can get a bunch of public players together and just coordinate and say, hey, do you mind playing this? Or do you mind, like if you can have actual communication, like voice communication, do you mind doing this and that? If you can get those people to commit to a position or to do something, they will do it. But you get them into a game where they don't use any comms. It's just like everybody just does the same thing. They just go ham at everything.
Yeah, it's true.
I kind of think it's not. I don't think that players don't like doing it, but I think it's just because I find there's a conflict, because the same thing with having achievements in the game. Yeah. People want to get achievements.
Yes.
But the game says, hey, but if you want to win, you should play it this way. Put these people on these lanes. Put this person there. Defend the harvest to do that. But then you put a bunch of achievements and tell them to do this. Then all hell just breaks loose because nobody has any focus.
Right.
So I've always found that to be an issue with a lot of video games, personally. But I think that part of the issue is the players, but part of the issue too is also the game and like how they present what you can get from the game.
Yeah. Well, I think you said it there. Focus. The right focus isn't used. If you're telling them they should do this, but if they didn't do that and did this other thing instead, and I think some of it just has to do with human psychology, like, you know, the mentality of like, can they get that achievement in time? Yes, but they want it sooner. You know, so you know, in order to counter that, like, people like achievements, right? So you're never really going to win there. It's just going to be what you have to deal with as a player. You have to deal, like I have to deal with in time. Am I going to quit Frontier Defense because I know that the games are not always going to be the best, and because I know that people are going to group up and be on the wrong side of the map, and because I know, you know, no, I'm not going to. I'm going to keep going back because in all reality, what I value above everything else is adaptation and my ability to react to the situation better. If I can conquer that, that to me is the biggest win. You know, like if I can somehow achieve what the team wouldn't have been able to, then that's an even bigger win than if I got some kind of like Titan kill achievement or whatever it is, you know, in the game. But that's always hard because that literally means carrying the team all the time, you know. So and that's not usually the goal of a team-based game.
No.
You know, so yeah, I've played in some really, really well-run teams. Even in Titanfall, I played in a normal game. One of my later normal games of that stream where everybody effectively did everything they needed to, and there was nothing really lacking, and it was pretty uneventful. You know, that just meant we needed to go to a harder difficulty if we would stay in that team, you know, group up. Then I went to a harder difficulty, and 2 people dropped out because, well, I know one of them was just complaining about, like, kill the mortars, kill the mortar. And I was like, you know, you should probably just stop typing and actually do the job. Like, I always found, like, if something is lacking and that job's not being done, just go do it. You know, let's go do it. Because if the other people are not doing it, and it never gets done, then that's always going to be a failure. Now, when you're out of position or whatever, see, who knows what that person was doing, if they were even, you know. But let's say they no longer doing the job that they were doing, that the likelihood that somebody else is going to pick up on that and do that is a lot higher than the certainty that no one is going to do the thing that you're asking for. You know what I'm saying? So give it a shot and see if it works, you know.
Plus, in the middle of gameplay, people tend to be a bit more frantic. So when you type stuff out, it seems more like you're giving orders as opposed to saying, "Hey, can anybody, you know, do this here? We're losing some, you know, some ground in this area. Could you?" Nobody types that because that's the time to actually form it. You know, hey guys, we're losing ground here. Would it be possible? Nobody's gonna say on type and say, "Hey, let's defend here." It's like that sounds like you issuing orders. So the first thing people can do is like, "You can't tell me what to do. I'm playing my own game. I'm here to have fun."
Yeah.
Not for you to tell me what to do. So then they can go and do something else.
Yeah. If I were to type out, which I don't because I'm usually busy anyways, I would say I'm going to get whatever it is that's lacking that I find lacking. I'm going to do this. And if I know that there's something I'm doing specifically that absolutely cannot be dropped, I would just say, can someone cover this? And that would be the end of it. Then I would just go do it and not wait for a response because I don't know if they can respond, number one. I don't know if they want to, number 2, but I do know that other thing needs to absolutely be taken care of. Otherwise, we absolutely will lose. You know, mortars will absolutely destroy you. Small units can be handled, but mortars will absolutely destroy you. Now, everyone goes to get mortars. That's a problem. But if at least one, if it's 2 people, that's okay. 2 is fine, you know. If it's 3, that's pushing it because then you literally only have one at the harvester. Hopefully, because who knows? They might be mid. They might be somewhere else. They may not be focusing harvester. You know. Anyways, yeah, I like Titanfall defense. That's the thing I'm getting at. Frontier, I enjoy it. So yeah, that's a lot of Destiny and Titanfall 2 talk.
I can switch up and talk for Honor.
Yeah, let's talk. I literally have that next on my list. That's great. What you got?
About For Honor, did you have a vote for on having are looking to have dedicated servers in the future?
Yes, sir. Indeed. Finally adding, but no specific date mentioned. But they said
Yeah.
it's going to happen, and it's on their roadmap,
Yep.
apparently.
Yep. I find it interesting too because the director was it the director? Yeah, the game director, Damien Kaiken. I don't know if I pronounced his name right.
Damien, son of the devil. Sorry.
But he took the time to sit down and list the problems with peer-to-peer, saying no peer-to-peer, you gotta check your NAT, which is your network address translation. So basically that takes your IP and takes it over the internet and puts it into a communication format that somebody else's system can read through a bunch of data packets.
Right.
And they said a lot of that stuff is lost in transition, and you gotta find somebody that has the same NAT as you, which causes conflicts. And then the other major issues you get is like false migrations as well as session migrations, which like constantly happen, which a lot of people, especially like PC players, were complaining about with For Honor. And I was like, he's listing all these issues, and I'm like, there's nothing new. I mean, peer-to-peer gaming has been around for a long time. And he's saying it like, oh, well, yeah, these are problems. And guess what? You know what? Get rid of all that. Dedicated servers. And we're putting dedicated. I'm like, but it's going to take a while. And you know what? It's going to take a while because they set up the whole game for peer-to-peer. And I'm just thinking to myself, all this could have been avoided if you just did dedicated. And I think it's like a matter of like cutting costs or trying to be. But no, I think this is going to be more. To me, I just think that's more expense on them creating the game in one mode, which is well known to be broken mode, and then having to go and revamp it to do any more that everybody was saying, why didn't you do it that way in the first place?
Yeah, I saw a comment where somebody was saying, oh, this was probably their plan all along. They probably wanted to wait till the player base kind of thinned out so they could do this because it's cheaper for them. And I was like, that's a really risky and stupid plan that I don't think any business that's established would want to go in on because it's risky and stupid.
Let's hope our
that's planning our game fails.
That's kind of like saying, oh man, I can't wait to get older, so hopefully I'll go bald. Right. And then I can try that road game. No, nobody wants to go bald, so they can try that.
A restaurant going, man, let's just hope we get very little returning customers, so we can then actually start putting out silverware.
Yeah.
Everyone eat with your fucking hands, you goddamn pigs.
Yeah. I honestly think that it's a matter of they invested so much into this game that they're thinking, you know what? We need to see if we could pull back something and give it, because they probably had plans for a lot more longevity, even though they still claim, oh, we got a lot of people playing, but I think they have plans for a lot more longevity of the game. Yeah. And they could see it just dying really fast or way faster than they want it to, because everything has a lifespan. And that they're saying, like, oh, this got to be our last ditch effort. No, we got to do this to make sure that we can reap more rewards in the long term for this game.
Definitely that article is definitely a cry for like, oh, please don't leave us, because they have no date on it. So that is a desperation kind of like, no, please, look, we're fixing it, baby, come back, baby. Look, I swear to God, it was only that one time. I swear. I'm gonna fix it in the future. Ain't gonna happen. See, here's the plan. When? It's some bullshit. It's some bullshit, man.
I'd say for that person to say too that they say, oh, but that was probably their plan all along. But
that's called developer apologist, is what it is.
Yeah, but they don't even have a date for when it's gonna happen. It's like that. If you got a plan, you know when you're gonna do things. There's no way that a large game company,
right? They have a relative idea internally, for sure.
I can expect that more from I can expect that more from like an indie company, smaller budgets, more passionate, more passionate for the game, as opposed to, hey, this thing got to be finished by this time. We got to make this amount of profits, and we got to have these DLCs out so we can get these additional profits out by this time. It's a lot more very structured, very linear direction with big budget games, because there's tons of money in it, so you can't afford to just say, oh, let's just do it because we're passionate about it. No,
right. Right. You know, one of the things that was I read like a fuller article than the one that I initially started at, where they were interviewing that developer guy, and he's like Spanish or something. Like his last name was all like hyphenated with like like from Spain. I don't know, you know, but there was a red flag there where it was like, yeah, we looked at how the development of Rainbow Six was going, which is good. And then he said, and the Division. No! No, no, that's a bad. Don't take that away. Retract. Don't look at the development of that. That's a bad. They're dead. They Hawkened. Sorry. Recent. Oh, man. Recent thing that came up talking about Hawken. Yeah. Anyways, but no, yeah. So we'll see how they go. Like, here's the thing. I still maintain my viewpoint on that game, on not Hawken, but on For Honor that I did when I played the beta, which is I think it's really fun 1v1ing, or maybe doing like 4v AI, you know. Or 4v4 maybe. I think that's a little bit much because that just ends up being a 2-on-1, 3-on-1 kind of thing. I'm not really it's probably fine. You can probably do something like that when you're ready for it. You play it, but definitely the one seemed really solid. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't want to pay full price for something that I only liked one game mode of, and other people that were like, well, maybe you might like these. Yeah, but I don't want to take that maybe chance. Okay, I don't want to pay $60 on a maybe. You know. I don't want to pay $60 on optimism, and it's not a sure bet. I would rather not emotionally purchase this video game, is what it comes down to, you know?
Yeah, you don't want to hope and end up with an Andromeda, you know?
Oh, man. Oof. Ouch. I still have not tried the free trial of that. Damn, that reminds me. The Surge has a free trial going on. I need to go check that out. But,
oh, yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, I saw it was on Steam. I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yes, I think
we're doing it live. Look it up right now. Sorry. Hey, at least I'm not seeing as much as I was last week. Last week it was everything. I was like, oh god. Watch, I'm gonna go to a restaurant. They're gonna be like, oh, we don't have any coffee. You're gonna do it live then, right?
Well, fuck it.
Make it right now. Fuck it. Do it live. Do it right. Make some coffee right now. They'd be like, sir, you need to calm the fuck down. I mean.
Yeah, sir, I don't think you need coffee.
Yeah, I don't think you need any coffee. All right. Let's see here. Download demo. Yeah, it's on Steam right now. It doesn't seem to... I wanted to make sure... it's got a weekend deal. Offer ends July 31st. Doesn't matter. People listening to it later on. It's only 33% off, which means it's $33. Yeah. To me, that's too much money for that game. I don't... Yeah. I think it's very niche still. People that might like it may not exactly be the people that play Dark Souls #1, because those guys are a bunch of fucking haters. So people that play Dark Souls only look for Dark Souls, and if it's not Dark Souls, fuck it. And even if it is Dark Souls, fuck it even more. Dark Souls 2, go get fucked. Dark Souls 3, you're half fucked. That's what I know. I'm serious. If it's not Dark Souls original, they're just like, fuck it, you know. And a quarter fuck to Demon Souls, and they give it a little bit more props because it was the original, and it's even more broken than Dark Souls. That's why it gets a quarter fucking. But
they are fans, man. That happens.
They're crazy. Yeah. See, I'm you know, I'm a bit more open minded than that, you know. So I'll play it. I'll give it a shot, but I'm not going to blow money on it. No, I'll see how it is for 33. I mean, for a demo. So
kind of curious as to what For Honor. I don't think For Honor is really has many sales on right now for it. Like, I already price didn't really drop much, but I think that even with the dedicated servers, they gotta drop the price to get some people into buying it and playing it. Some fresh people, because I know a lot of people will be burnt and they're not gonna go back. Some people will go back when they get the dedicated servers, but I don't. I'm looking at the game. I thought the game had like a lot of potential to be a really you know, it was different. It was a whole new concept of approaching those kind of fighting games. I like the mixture of the errors that they put into it. And this coming from somebody who doesn't want to play the game. I liked watching people playing the game because of how the combat played out.
I have not seen much of the game played because it's one of those games where I feel like I want to. I want to experience it, you know. That happens from time to time where I will put off something from viewing in order for me to actually just, But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, but that was after I played it, and I was like, I don't find it as enjoyable for me to play it, but I thought it was kind of cool watching and seeing somebody, like you're saying, like sometimes two people will come and attack one person, you know, like, screw you, you know, we're gonna go over there and beat this one guy, and that one guy would be like, nah, I'm gonna defend all you guys.
Oh, are you talking about For Honor or the Surge?
For Honor.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Surge. My bad. Sorry.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just talking about their dedicated, getting back dedicated servers, getting dedicated servers, I should say. But I kind of want it to do better because that has a lot of potential to kind of create like its own game genre.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was very different. So that's why I want it to be a bit more successful. It doesn't have to be like the best game or tons of people playing it, but I'd like it to have a better following than it has now. And if they can actually make the game have dedicated servers in a good way, then I'll be like thumbs up. You didn't do it in the beginning, but it came around.
Yeah, For Honor, it actually is in somewhat of the same realm of PUBG in a way, like the 4v4, and I'll explain. It's a bit of a reach, but it's the same kind of idea of you have to best these other people, and like you said, a 3-on-1 could happen, a 2-on-1, whatever, you know, and but it still comes down to, you know, you versus them. Granted, there are minions in the way or whatever. So if they remove that and did that, they could still work in the same realm. Like it could be an arena fighter. They could open up that version if there isn't already. I don't know if there is a game mode for that. But I think there were, there was a 1v1, 2v2, and a 4v4, I think is what it was. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was like a mix of PvE versus PvP as well. Yeah. And I think that if you had a 4-on-4 that the AI could fill in for missing people, because I think that was a problem that they were getting people that were missing. Initially, it was something like
would drop out,
yeah, and initially it was something like if the AI dropped in, they had full health and everything or whatever on the 1v1s at least. I think it was something shitty like that, but yeah, they definitely had some wrong balancing initially. So there's a lot of changes that they have planned. I actually do hope it goes well because I liked the combat system. I think it's a little too complex for a lot of people. Like it's not going to be a PUBG because of that. PUBG is ridiculously stripped down simplicity, you know, in what it just wants to get at a lot of people killing each other, and that's it. There's no super complex mechanics. There's no combos that you have to think about. There's nothing like that. It's just, you know, see a person, kill a person, hide, don't hide, you know, run. Well, that's it. This is ridiculously simple. That's why it's very appealing. Apparently, it's sold 5 million copies to date.
Is it 5 million? Or I think it was like almost 5 when I saw.
An article I read said 5 million already. So, yeah. But, yeah, I think 400.
That's 4 months.
Yeah, I know. I read an entire article about that dude, man, which was pretty interesting. So I have a better appreciation of him. But yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be that popular. I don't think it would ever be that popular because it's too complex mechanically. But then here's the other problem was there still was not good balance in the game anyway because there were some defensive tricks that you could do that could really simplify gameplay too much. So, you know, because it's more of a fighting game, it has a lot of balancing to do, you know? It has a lot of balancing to do. And those kind of fighting game type things with melee involved, they're about predicted. They're like chess, you know? They're like chess. And that's why I think I liked For Honor more than something like a shooter. Because with the shooter, mostly you're shot, you're done. There's no, I'm going to parry this bullet and sling it back at you kind of thing. There's no, you know, you either dodge, don't get in the way in the first place, or kill the person before they can get you. Okay, so that's melee, right? That is melee. But I guess melee takes a little bit longer too. So you have more chance of actually pulling a comeback, you know?
Yeah, but the other thing too with melee, like the Medal for Honor is like you know the person is there, as opposed to
Oh yeah,
PUBG. It's like that person could be behind you, that person could be over to the side, and you just running in a direction. They'd be like, "Oh, I see you," blah blah blah, and you're dead.
you just mentioned something that I forgot that I hated about that kind of thing too. That's true. I hate the fact that you can be moving around and not know where gunfire's coming from. Look, if I wanted to sign up to be in the military like the rest of my family, I would have done that. I did not. Okay, so I'm not interested in getting shot from somewhere that I've never seen. So no, and people can figure out how that works and all that, and great, that's a game mode for them, that's good for them. I was talking about that on Twitter with that one dude, what's his name, I can't remember his name. Anyways, about Destiny 2 and that simple jumping mechanic that you have to do in the beginning of the game and them taking it out versus like Mario versus like whatever. It's the same thing. People like different things and different genres and all that, and some people are better at different things, whatever. But there's a big gulf of difficulty between finding out where gunfire is coming at in a pixelated game where your character at a distance is a few pixels versus that could be crouched behind a rock or laying down, versus jumping on the head of a mushroom guy in Mario.
Yeah.
There's a big gulf of difference there, as far as difficulty is concerned. But PUBG, that is one of the difficulties I would have a big problem with. And people that know the maps well, and know player behavior, they've had enough experience in the game, so they have an idea of what most players are going to do. They're going to be the ones that excel. Apparently, the developer likes that though. And I can understand how that would be a nice difficulty curve. The problem is those players exist in every game. It's not like you can ramp up to that level. They're either going to be there or they're not going to be there. And you can have a game that is done immediately, which how fun is that for anybody? Because don't you have to just wait the entire fucking round out then?
You mean if you get killed early? No, once you get killed early, it's just like, oh, well, this is the only place you got. This is how many points you got. Click OK, and you just go back to the main menu and just search for another game.
Oh, I guess people just watch other people when they're dead because they want to then? Or is that how it is when team playing?
That's team play.
Okay.
Team play, you watch. But once you die, you just get the screen come up saying, this how far you got, how many people you killed. If you get any points or any rewards, that's how much you get. Oh. And then you just click to continue and search for another game and go again.
So it's a game that pays to have no friends. Got it. Okay. So I'm sorry because I've watched like team play, I guess, exclusively, and that sucks for me. I'm like, well, watching, because I'm like, now you just got to do nothing. How fun is that? But whatever. Because you can still call out things, clearly. I heard that, so I was like, well, that's also like a little bit cheating. Because they were like, oh, there's a person right there. They're behind the rock. And I was like, would that player have seen that? Whatever. Whatever. People like the game. 5 million copies. I'll shut up. Yeah. Anything else on For Honor?
No. Nothing else.
Yeah, there are actually a lot of updates, and there's a lot of plans for updates. So if anybody's actually interested in that game or has it, go look that up. I didn't bother trying to list it all. It's a lot of stuff. And some of it, I wouldn't even understand the gravity of it because I don't play. So that's one thing I noticed in that PUBG article that the developer guy, Green, I think his name, Brandon Green, maybe? I don't know. But
Brandon, yeah.
There you go. He was saying he doesn't really even play his game that much because he thinks that if he did, he would start catering to himself. I actually think that's a fault, and a lot of gamers would think that that's a fault too, because when you don't play the game that you produce much, you don't know the problems that people deal with, Yeah. Or you may not actually feel the weight of it versus people just complaining about stuff, You don't know what you can hear a lot of people complaining about a certain thing, but until you actually experience it as part of the community, it's kind of like, being the mayor of a city but not living there. Can you do the job? Probably. But if you actually live there, that's why some people try to run on that. I'm from this neighborhood. I know this, People like that for a reason, because like, oh, he can understand the problems we have to deal with, or she, whoever, So I don't know, but that's the developer.
It also depends too.
Yeah.
If he has a test group that he always confers with, and says, like, so what do you find with the game? What are the problems? What do you like here? Or what? If he has that going on, then by all rights, he doesn't have to play the game because, again, too, even if you're from that neighborhood, you might have grown up in the tougher part of that neighborhood, or you might have grown up in the side that had, more people that were, a little bit better off, still struggling, but you don't know what the gritty, grimiest part of it is. So, again, it's all going to be still your perspective of hope. And also, too, you might have said, well, hey, if I could get up and get out of here, why can't you? But some people might say, you know what, I got lucky, I got a chance. So
I'd rather have somebody that knows what's going on. I'd rather have somebody that's gone through it than like some outsider. Yeah. But the thing is, if he did have a group that's outside, that's help, he's the developer. What are the odds that they're going to give it to him straight?
Well, again,
they may be high, but not all the time.
It depends on it depends on what kind of office community he's trying to foster in his company, because
I think he's in Korea.
There's some companies where,
so he can't even talk to them anyways. Well, I think there was like 3 translators on hand or whatever. He could say like hello, goodbye, or he was listing off the things he can say. It was kind of funny. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So he doesn't have like any people working with him here. Well, not here. Sorry, with him with his location. Like, he doesn't have a team with him personally. He just communicates with a group of people that work with it and that develop the game in Korea, and that's it.
I don't know that it went into super detail, but he's living there and he has translators. He says he doesn't really do anything on the weekend because he doesn't speak the language and he doesn't actually want to learn it that much. He said it's too hard. These are like his own words. And so he pretty much like kind of stays in, and if he needs anything, he has translators, and that's about it. Yeah. So anyways, that's, not to put any judgment. I'm like, I don't know, that is what it is. But yeah, I don't think we're going down a very like trying to assume a lot of things path here, which is fine. So I'm not sure. Like, I'm guessing he has people that he knows that outside of the company that probably play it, and tell him stuff too, right? Who doesn't have like people that they know from? Apparently he's from Ireland. He used to live in Brazil, and then he's in Korea now. So interesting path. Yeah. He was in Brazil for like 6 years. I saw that. He got married over there, then divorced. So then he left. Yeah. So he's got an interesting path he went through. But hey. At the end of the day, he's making a lot of money, hopefully. I hope he is, right? Because, to clarify once again, Blue
Hole?
Blue Hole. I was going to say it can't be Blue Hole, but it is. I was like, is it Blue Whale? I was like, no, it's Blue Hole. That they had done MMOs, and so they had a similar vision of what he had, and it just happened to be that he got let go from Sony. And they matched with his. They knew about him. He heard what they were doing, and it was just like a good pairing, So once again, it's like a combination. It's just once again we are hearing about him being the developer. In reality, it is like a pairing of like hey, they agree with what I want to do. I agree with what they want to do. It's like when I went to work for that last company I worked for. That's how I literally said that to like. One of the co-owners, I was like, you guys have things that you want, and I have things that I want, and I think as long as we can agree and communicate those things or whatever, I think we're gonna have a great partnership. So
I was actually gonna say that's the exact word that she used for it. They got partnership.
Yeah. I was like, I'm a horrible employee, but I will be great at executing these certain things, because to me, an employee is someone that just listens and does whatever. And so I told him up front, But anyways, that's me. That's a personal thing. Anyways, but yeah.
Another thing too with CM PUBG is that they're actually doing their first esport tournament. And
yeah, I saw. I didn't figure I wanted to talk about it, but yeah, what I didn't hear about it. So if you could tell me.
Yeah, they said they're gonna have like 80 players playing like 3 games to determine like who's gonna be the winner, and they're gonna have competitions in like solo, duo, first person, duo, and squad mode. I don't know again, I don't play the game that much, so I don't know how that would work out, but they have planned to have a prize pool of $350,000.
To start?
They're pardon?
Yeah, to start.
Yeah. Well, to start, but that's where they're saying it's going to be. But they're also going to be like selling cosmetics in the game to
Yeah, I know. I
fund
saw that.
the,
They're gonna have a
the
lock and
prize
key
pool.
thing coming up.
Yep. Yep.
Loot
And
boxes.
They,
Everybody's got
yeah,
them.
and they're also going to have some of the money that they make from selling that stuff is also going to go towards charities. And it's going to be like $2.50 US. So, wherever you are in the world, just do your conversion. And that's going to be, it's just going to be like purely cosmetic stuff, which people love. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's good. And the tournament is going to happen between August the 23rd and 26th in Germany. So, unless you could get it in Germany, then chances are you're not going to be competing, even if you're really good at the game.
Well, my Janzer sounds German, so maybe they'll just like let me go over there.
Not Janza.
No, I didn't say Swedish. I think they're the ones that take it into a Y. But yeah. No, that's the co-op, the competitive thing, esports. It is what it is. I think I'm more okay with it now than I was a year ago. I used to be like, that's because I think losing the fun of a game and losing the fact that it is a game is detrimental in a way to me. But at the same time, it's like the unmovable rock thing that I talk about, like a mountain. When it's not going away, clearly it's not. There's no reason to keep, trying to chip away at it. It's ridiculous. So I recognize the wait. First off, I have to say I'm a negative person because that's what people have always told me. So anything that I say positive is probably some kind of like stroke I had or something, right? So the positives that I see in it are like what I said the other day about like why do we have a heavyweight championship belt? So people can just point back to it. Look, see, I did it. So I'm not just talking about how good I am. It's done. And if you want to get to where I'm at, you got to go through everybody that I went through, or you got to go through the ranks, man. So I can see the need in a way, quote unquote need, but it's still an ego based need. So that, but I got to put that aside because I got to remember people don't care about those kinds of things. They want to live the petty things in life. So they want to focus on the things that don't mean anything, Where it does mean something is money, and we are in a money-based society. So, that's a good thing, If you're that good, hey, go for it, man. So outside of the ego, you could actually get some good money out of it. That'd be awesome. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of it is ego.
Yeah, a lot of it is.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I didn't think that it would be so soon that they'd be doing it because the game doesn't seem polished enough to make it into esport. And I don't mean that the game doesn't run well, but
yeah,
I find there are mechanics and stuff that I figured would need to be a bit more balanced for something of esports.
They need it to be launched, man. What was the date of it again?
August 23rd to 26th.
See, this is where I'm going to be like, this is some bullshit, though, When I really think about it, you're right, And here's the thing. It's not even launched yet. So we're all just fucking ourselves in the head. Developers and gamers, when they want to pretend like they don't like the idea of games in development and they rather have something that's fully published. Because look at this thing sold 5 million copies, not on sale at all. Even while not on sale, hit the top of the charts in Steam. Even the guy himself was like, I was surprised. He was like, I thought we were going to do well, but because we weren't ready to go on sale, I figured it wasn't going to do that well. And for me to see that we hit top of the charts, it's crazy. He's like, he's like, he said that the development company, Bluehold, that their primary focus is to put out a solid quality release before things like extras, like the bullet penetration and stuff or whatever, bullet, air wind resistance and, all that, bullet drop or whatever, that they want to just put out a game where you don't die because of a bug, you know. So and I was like, good. They should actually release a solid, fully working title. But then they're gonna already have it just seems stupid. It just seems hypocritical and dumb of the community, you know, when they talk so much shit about whatever, and then it's just whatever, you know. Yeah. At the end of the day, people just want what they want. That's it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I look at it and say, you know what, business, people making money. So to say, like, re-looking at it from the perspective of, well, this doesn't make sense, or this should be, you know, the way that you should approach it, but they're looking at it as like, we gotta make money.
Yeah. But at the same time, I see the same thing in the hypocrisy, like I said, of gamers who cry about not jumping on the bandwagon of, you know, early access games or alpha games, beta games, and yet them doing it all the damn time and pointing out the ones that are bad and saying, this is horrible, you should never get into beta or open early access, and yet pumping shitloads of money into this game, which is in the same mode, and is even pushing pushing it forward a little bit more and doing an esports event. I mean, if you're not going to be behind it, don't be behind it, you know. But if you're going to back it, then shut up about everything else that's so early access. And you know, it's just ridiculous. It's just silly.
Yep. It's just like all those people who went to PokemonFest and bitch and moan and complain.
PokemonFest?
Did you hear about that?
No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh man. But Niantic, you know, they're the people that create this whole Pokemon game. So they have this Pokemon Fest, and it was in Chicago's Grand Park. And so basically they hold this big thing, and there's got like 20,000 people, you know, that looking to turn up, and they say, oh, they're gonna be this, and it was all sold out. And they say, oh, you're going to be able to come here. You're going to be able to find these like really special Pokemons. And they got this whole thing, festival stuff going on. The whole mobile network and stuff just fucking crashed. You know, pretty much like how the game had a lot of technical issues and kept crashing, and it just doesn't work properly. And all I'm thinking to myself is, all these people pay money to go to this thing, and the game already does not function properly all the time. It's like when the game anybody that's a fan of the game says, oh, when the game is working, it's great. But when it's not, so it's like the mere fact that happens on a consistent basis outside of having a huge group of people slammed into one small area, what's going to happen if you go and do that? So basically, that's what happened. They had it turned out to be a big disaster, you know. People paid all their money to go, and they couldn't hunt down their Pokemons. But what really pissed me off is that people were there complaining and shouting, you know, fix your game, to like the presenters and stuff that had to go up on stage. People started throwing bottles at them.
What the fuck? Right, I saw the presenters were doing it. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, like, these people are getting paid to go out there and do a job. Like, you know, let's say you make a living, you gotta go out there and represent Pokemon. Pokemon go at this fest, and it breaks down. You do not deal with the technical aspect of it, but you gotta go on stage and smile and talk to and say, you know, I present the game, and then people throwing bottles at you.
Yep. Anyone that's worked customer service at a retail outlet that did not have a generally favorable opinion of it would know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
They represent the face of the company, even though they are not the inner workings of it. Yep. Yeah,
and it wasn't like glass bottles or something, you know, like how people may throw glass balls at other people, which is extremely dangerous. But they stood up there and smiled and did their presentation, because they can't get paid to do that. They can't just say, hey, look, y'all think I'm working.
They need the next gig.
You got to go up there because they paid you.
Yep, they need the next gig. And it looks better on them if they deal with it than not. It looks way better, you know. But if they walk out, then that can be understood as like, well, that's understandable. But at the same time, the next people would be like, well, you walked out on this event. And, I mean, we would want someone that actually stays and, like, helps to kind of try to make things better, you know, even though if that's not the job description, that's the nature of, you know, companies. Yeah.
But yeah, I just had like two big issues with it. The crowd was just like, it's a fucking game. You know, Well, sorry, more than two. It's a fucking game. Two, technology is known to no matter how advanced we get, technology breaks. And it's not like the game wasn't breaking all the time before. So this is not something that you should have expected that. Frankly, I think most of the people shouldn't even gone. I think it should have flopped in terms of nobody really turned up because people expected, you know what, it's probably not going to run properly.
I don't know. That's such a super ultra popular game that.
Yeah, no, I know people will still go. But what I'm saying is that you have to set your expectations to a certain level when you know that this stuff happens already. But you know, people are not willing to accept that. But I'm saying, but then between technology, not understanding technology breaking, being disrespectful then to the people as well too, by throwing stuff at them. You know, I'm like, I just think that those are truly fanatics.
Yes, that's correct.
And they need to check themselves out before they wreck themselves, because that's some craziness. Seriously, I mean, at the end of the day,
it's lack of perspective.
All we're doing is wasting time.
Yep.
Playing games,
yeah,
you know,
that's what I said. You know, all that arguments about whatever. It's how we're choosing to waste our time. That's all. So
yeah, I see a lot of articles talking about, you know, how is. I know they say Niantic, they getting sued for all, you know, people saying, oh, we went to this thing, we paid our money. Yeah, you know that's gonna happen. But the main thing I'm taking away from it is that people are really fucking crazy.
Yes. Yeah. Well, like you said, those are the fanatics, and that's here. And this is there was an analogy I was thinking about when you said something about like there's people that mention, and it's happened with other games too. They're like, well, it's really good when it's good, and it's bad when it's bad, but they still keep playing it. To me, that's an addictive like type of personality or addictive behavior. That's a it's like a guy or a girl staying with a guy or a girl, you know, mix it and match it however you want, you know, because everyone needs to be like everything now. And just they constantly complain about the person, but they never leave them. It's the exact same thing. It's the same mentality. I never understood that. It's like if you constantly, oh, I'm just venting. Well, yeah, but you're just venting every day. You know, maybe it's not a great situation for you. How about you go find another girlfriend, boyfriend, toaster, whatever it is that you're into now. It's the same, or it's like drugs. You know, it's good when it's good and bad when it's bad. Okay, well, that's a bad that's a bad relationship to have with video games. You should play them because you enjoy them and they're a time waster and entertainment, and they take you out of your life and they help you to, you know, de-stress. You should not play them because you have a toxic relationship with them that you can't identify as being toxic. That's not just because other people are doing it and you want to be part of the current society that finds whining and complaining about, you know, video games to be proper and appropriate because it's okay. That doesn't mean that that's going to be best for you too, you know. You can be an individual and not do that. Not saying that whining and complaining is something that you can never do. That's not the case at all. Everything's not black and white. Remember that. But have some perspective every once in a while and take some perspective on stuff, you know. I can't deal with, and this came up the other day, you were talking about, there's got Covert GG for people that don't know on Twitch that streams a lot of Paragon. He's doing some Fortnite as well. And he's a relatively like level-headed dude, relatively balanced dude, you know, more on the positive side and that. And that's good. That's good. Welcoming, inclusive, that kind of thing. But, you know, the other day he had some problem too with somebody in the community just being overly negative. And, yeah, I agree with what he was saying about, like, I don't actually like and seek out to talk to people that all they do is complain. I think because, number one, I probably do that. I feel I do that way more than I should. And if all I do is surround myself with people that are like, ugh, this thing sucked. Ugh, this is wrong. It's like, do you find any joy in life? And if you say your joy in life is complaining about stuff, maybe you should examine that a bit, because at some point you're going to die. And if your entire life was complaining Insert jokes here about other cultures and how they like to complain and whatnot about, I won't go into that. I think it's hilarious though. But it doesn't, I'm not saying everything's sunshine and roses. For the love of God, it's not. But I think sometimes, especially when you're under a lot of duress or you've lived a life with a lot of issues from early on, you actually do become a really positive person, even if how you handle a lot of this stuff may not. I think people kind of look at maybe how I word things or talk about things as like being negative or whatever, and I was like, no. I definitely deal with a lot of things positively. It just doesn't always register as something that's entertaining. So I'm doing an entertaining kind of thing with Twitch and YouTube. And people don't always disassociate the personality of that from the reality of a human being, because they're not entertaining. We're talking about that. It's like a normal human being is quite boring. So to be a bit hyperbolic is kind of the norm right now. And if you want to have any kind of audience, you have to be a bit like that as well. But I think that translates down to people that are not into the kind of thing of being an entertainer where they feel like, oh, I'm going to do that too because that's the norm, right? No, it's called entertainment because it's not normal. It's not a normal thing that is going on, It's entertaining. But it's not that's a normal thing that we do all of the time kind of thing. Oh, this is how I exact all of the time. I guarantee if you act a certain way that you might on the internet to your doctor, you'll have to find another doctor. Now they can get away with it because they have power. They have a lot of money and time invested in that job, and some of them feel like they are better than other human beings because of that. That aside, PokemonFest, boy, was it a disaster. Okay, but the whole thing about I was thinking about I think these people are on. They think their game is cocaine. They maybe get the same highs out of it, but then they get the same lows out of it when it doesn't give them the high. They get angry and mean. It's like that's not a good relationship to have to a video game, people. That's not good for you or for people that are around you. And you can find people that fester in that and they wallow in anger and bitterness. But at some point, you're going to age and you won't be in that same mentality. And you'll realize, wow, I burned a lot of energy doing that, didn't I? I kind of feel like I wasted a part of my life. Yeah. But that's coming from an old guy.
They might just end up being even more bitter.
Yeah, they might be even more bitter because they fucking fucked up so much and they just couldn't get out of being a piece of shit. So anyways, that is coming from a former piece of shit, fuck up, bitter old guy. So I'm telling you based on experience. All right.
So going off from the crazies.
Yeah.
You have?
Bandai Namco announced that it's delayed registration for Dragon Ball FighterZ's closed beta coming to August 22nd. So the closed beta will run September 16th to 18th. Originally, it was July 26th that the closed beta registration was supposed to be. But now it's August 22nd. This is a fighter. It looks extremely good. It was developed by the people that did Blaze Blue or Blaz Blue, if you will. Because apparently that's the correct way to say it, Blaz Blue. I believe Exert. What was this? Oh God, what was Exert's actual title name? But another anime type fighter. The hype about it for me, and yes, hype. This is where it's not normally hype. But is that it looks really good. It looks like a really good translation of the anime itself. So there's been a ton of these fighters in the past, and they've all had variable levels of quality, most of them not so good. this has like background environmental damage when you do certain things, just like it would in the anime. You know, there's a lot there that's actually fitting in with how the anime, works. So that's why it's very exciting to fans and fanatics of the series. So I wouldn't consider myself to be a super fan at all. And I don't even know if I'm a good fan, quote unquote, because I don't really have everything untangled in my head about the timelines. But I've watched enough of it in different languages even. So, but yeah, they're just moving the closure registration. You probably already know this if you're listening to this by now. And if you don't know, then that's fine. Now you know. So August 22nd is when they're going to start that. And the closed beta will actually be September 16th through 18th. There's 9 characters initially confirmed: Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Frieze, Cell, Majin Buu, Piccolo, Krillin, and future Trunks, which is like a fan favorite apparently. I honestly don't follow Dragon Ball, and I haven't followed it for a long time. I just know the old stuff. So I don't really know if I know properly who future Trunks is, other than the guy that came from the future that's about it. Huh? Well, the funny thing about Trunks is that he's the son of Bulma. Bulma means like panties, underwear. Trunks mean, well, trunks that you wear.
Remember last night when we were playing the game and you were saying the game was doing like a dialogue thing and they was talking at the same time and you were saying you might as well not be saying anything because it sounds like yeah. Right now I kind of feel like that because like Bulma, this is Bulma's son and Goku and this, and I'm like, yeah, I don't care about any of that.
Yeah. Well, all of their names
Dragon
are like
Ball
a
Z
play
just
on
didn't
different things. So,
and
yeah.
that, like, I meet so many people that are so big into or used to watch tons of Dragon Ball Z, and it just never appealed to me. Like, I like anime, but it was just too much talking.
Yes.
And I don't. And the thing is, I don't mind talking in movies. I love good dialogue. But
you don't like an entire episode that wastes your time before a fight?
We're gonna fight. Oh yes, we will.
You don't want 4 episodes worth of dialogue that dude where they're just floating?
What? Hang on, I'm gonna use this. Your power levels.
Exactly.
Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Next episode, and I was like, "Fuck that shit."
Well, it's the pain that binds us, Phil. And that's, going back to that whole games as a bad coke habit. It's the same kind of thing with Dragon Ball. People dislike things about it as much as they like it. The same thing I've seen with the Dark Souls series. So there can be, so let me I'll make an amendment to what I said earlier. There is a healthy level of that you can participate in, but just the same way that I laugh about the things that hurt me, you have to have that ability. Like Rakshaw said, you strike me in chat right now. He said, you strike me as someone who likes gallows humor, like dark, mean jokes. Absolutely can't appreciate that stuff. In fact, one of the things that I used to say to people, girlfriends, family members, my own mom, was like, they'd be like, all right, we'll see you next. Friends that I just met and didn't know me well. Oh, we'll see you tomorrow or see you next week. And I was like, yep, as long as the plane doesn't fall on my head. As long as I don't get hit by a truck. And that was my closing, like I'm leaving. That's what I would say. And I saw nothing wrong with that because I'm like, number one, it's a fact. Number two, the likelihood of it happening is pretty low as far as the plane is concerned. The truck, it could happen. But so I never really said truck. I said plane. Later on, I said something like, not unless a ship falls on my head. But it didn't quite offer up the same imagery as a plane. What kind of ship are we talking about? So it was just like an airplane. It's very clear, distinct in your mind. And a good joke, it gets right to the point. So, it offers that clear mental image, especially a one-liner like that. So, yeah, I knew what I was doing. And so I was like, well, yeah, the likelihood, it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that it's not going to happen. So therefore, based on it, how stupid and silly it is, Clearly it's a joke. Clearly it's something to laugh at. Most people did not find that to be funny. Go figure. So that's my mentality, yes, a lot of the time.
Death by plane. Yeah. How could they not find that funny?
And here's the thing. If it did happen, boy, would that have been some predictive. It's like, wow, he called it. I mean, he was not wrong about that plane. He said as long, and a plane, he's...
I guarantee a lot of people who would be close to you after that happened would be walking around with their heads in it, looking up.
It was so ludicrous.
Why do you look up so much?
But then again, I like books like Catch-22, where they make fun of the inability to remove yourself from a ridiculous situation. In that sense, is war, and what was going on was so mind-bogglingly stupid that it was like, how and why is this even something that we as human beings need to be doing anymore? It's so, you think that we're past that? Nope, we're not. It's just, anyways, getting out of the depressingness of whatever that is. Dragon Ball. So
not my kind of game, but people, it looks like it's going to be, if it's done well, it looks like it'll be one of those titles that is going to get a lot of people behind it.
Hopefully, yeah. But like the developer for it, they're pretty good at what they do, and they've been doing it for a while. So we'll see how it goes. I'm pissed at myself for not remembering what the name of that other fighter is. I want to look it up real quick. Did you hear, though, about Wolfenstein 2 DLC?
I saw
Guilty Gear Exert. Sorry.
I saw some articles, but I didn't read.
Okay.
What's happening with? I heard it's something about is it either 5 or 2 DLCs or 4 DLCs or something like that? 2
DLC packs and season pass announced. $25 is what it says. So the first of these expansions, called Episode 0, will be available at launch for season pass holders or as a free bonus to those who pre-order. The add-on will introduce you to a trio of 3 playable heroes who star in the subsequent 3 DLC packs, which will arrive post-launch. So one of them is going to be called The Adventures of Gunslinger Joe, and it's going to have some quarterback guy. Doesn't really say much of anything. The other one's going to be Diaries of Agent Silent Death, and you're going to infiltrate a Nazi bunker or Nazi bunkers to discover secrets of an operation, an ex-OSS agent. And then the final DLC pack is going to be called The Amazing Deeds of Captain Wilkins, and it's going to task you with dismantling a Nazi operation in Alaska.
These characters are people that you meet in the main game.
I'm guessing
that you team up with, I think. Okay.
Either they're going to be like that, or they're just going to be add-ons to the game story, to kind of extend things out. So I would say if it's smart, it would be what you said, to help establish them. Yeah. Then it says it's unclear at this stage whether the expansions will be available individually outside the season pass. So that's kind of like, okay. Bethesda said further information, including gameplay details and release dates, will emerge, quote unquote, soon. So I can guarantee that the operations will be available separately outside the DLC pack because money. There's this thing called money. Have you met it? It likes to run your life.
Strategy.
What's that?
I was saying what they could be doing is trying to do a marketing strategy. It's like, well, we're not sure if this is going to be available outside of that. So people go and buy it.
Yep.
They figure that's the only way. And then
you will never get this. You know what? You will never get this. Yeah.
Yeah. And then afterward it's like, hey, guess what we're going to do? Just like...
wow, they're amazing. They're going to finally give us a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. When Call of Duty had their older Modern Warfare game tied in with the recent Call of Duty game, like, no, you can only get it this way. Then afterwards, like, you know what you can do now?
Yep.
You can get it separate.
Yep.
So yeah,
Never say never.
Because you know what? Money.
That's right. Because a little guy named Money, or gal, or Toaster, whatever.
Yeah. Outside of the money aspect though, that DLC does sound kind of cool though. I mean, like playing different people that had different roles in connection with what happened with the main storyline or whatever. Yeah, I like stuff like that.
I have a problem with this because it's a story-based game that Wolfenstein, I don't want it to go into all of these, like, I am now a AAA title that's going to play with AAA title marketing rules. I don't want 5 fucking DLCs and a season pass. I don't need Wolfenstein with the season pass. Leave season passes to things like Rainbow Six Siege, where there needs to be content continually added. This is clearly my opinion. Can it be good? Yes, but I don't want the concise story that I experience in Wolfenstein: The New Order to be extended on purely for monetary reasons. I hope that these are good extensions of the core game and are well done. But the problem is, it's like reading a book. Once upon a time, a book was a book and it had an ending. The end. And then sometimes they make other books, right? Like, there's the next story and the next story. But that took a long time for it to happen. That wasn't like, this is looking like Evolve, where it had all these things ready to go. And then it started doling, you could buy this other thing. Oh, you could buy, because it says the first of these expansions, called Episode 0, will be available at launch for season pass holders or as a free bonus to those who pre-order. So apparently you don't get that if you're not one or the other at launch.
That is the only thing that really stuck out to me. Know that you repeat it, because it's like you get this bonus story at the launch of the game. It says like, so this is done, and you're not including it in the game, is what you're telling me. And I gotta pay money to get this, or I gotta buy your game before I know if it runs properly in order to get this.
And here's to answer the question that you asked me about: are they in the game? I missed it and I read it, and you missed it and I read it. The add-on, which is that Episode 0, will introduce you to the trio of playable heroes who will star in the subsequent 3 DLC packs. There we go. So they're not in the main story unless you buy the season pass or you are a pre-order person.
Nah, well, if that's the case, then I'm not with that. Like, if it was characters that NPCs that you join up with, and then it's like, hey, this is their side mission that they had to do while you were doing your stuff. Yeah, I like that cool kind of tie-in. It's kind of like having a spin-off series from a very good series that works.
Bump into them. What the fuck you doing here? And then they're gone. It's like, whoa, who the hell was that?
Yeah. Yep. And then you play their spin-off story, and you bump into your character from before at that point, and then it continues. So he's like, oh, that's what the fuck they were doing while I was doing this.
Right. So I'm not trying to turn this into a negative discussion. These are the problems that I see based on me being the consumer, and also me playing the last game and really enjoying the full, concise story that was presented really well. So I know what they have the capability of doing. On one hand, yes, it's nice to see an extension of something that you really enjoy, actually being available. On the other hand, I hate when this stuff becomes this exclusive to where it's like season pass holders, or pre-order owner. Pre-order only I can kind of understand. I just don't like the idea of a season pass for a story-based game. I understand it when it comes to games like I said, like a shooter, because they need content. They don't have a story. They're just fucking dumb, go out there and shoot people kind of thing, right? So they need more content. I get a season pass with that. You need more maps, you need skin, whatever. But with the story, I'm like, no. Let's not. I don't want that personally. I don't want to pay for my next episode of Breaking Bad, all right? Just give me the fucking season, all right?
That's the same thing that happened with the last Deus Ex too.
Yeah.
And
Was Mankind Divided or?
That was it the last one called Mankind? I
I
can't
don't
remember
know
what
which
the last one
one's
was
which.
called, but they pretty much ended it on like a cliffhanger. It's like it did not end, as opposed to the previous games where they had a beginning and the end of a storyline, and they ended. This last one did not do that, and then they had all this DLC, this version of DLC, and that, and they had plans for adding additional stuff. That's why they made it into like a story.
That's
that
also
didn't
the
end
game that
at
lets
the
you
end.
buy upgrades in the game itself, right? As
Yeah.
microtransactions.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
And now they're not doing anything else with the game for any close future. Anything that can happen with that game will probably happen in distant future, if ever. So anybody that bought that, played it through to the end, it's pretty much has no ending, and probably had to buy some other kind of DLC to get other kind of content in there, and yeah, they get nothing. That's one of the reasons I don't like that kind of marketing for games.
It also feels like with that one game, it feels like nickel and diming, or it feels like, imagine if you're sitting down at home and you're eating a biscuit or something, right? And you've got coffee there, and then a little note pops up, like a little 3-dimensional note pops off. Would you like a refill on your coffee? Yeah, actually, yeah. Hit that button, and then it refills. Would you like sugar? Well, yeah, a little bit of sugar. Pop that. All right. Would you like creamer? No. It's just, I could just see everything's charging you for everything. That's the ultimate. Marketing would love if they could do that to our daily lives. It's like, you're washing with that soap, but you could wash with this other soap that stops aging, huh? If they could, they would. And this is what I don't like seeing in video games. I don't like seeing the nickel and dime effect or whatever, where it's like almost kind of like, for a little bit more, you could also get, No. This is where I don't normally always agree with Jim Sterling on this kind of stuff, where he doesn't like DLC at all. I don't mind DLC. I don't mind people getting paid for their work, but there's certain things, and this is a personal preference, clearly, where I like to see Wolfenstein contained, because it had an end. It was done. It was not a good end, and I enjoyed it because it made me feel something. That was all I needed for the experience, because everyone now is dead inside. So we just need to feel feelings again. Positive or negative, we don't give a shit. It's like, was I human? I forgot. I'm kidding. But the point was that there was an ending to it. I'm not of the traditional Western viewpoint that everything has to be happy, but I'm not so overly un-Western that I'm like, oh, everything always has to be, like up in the air, and it has to be something that, no, I don't mind a close to a story, everything's variable. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. It just seemed excessive, 2 DLC packs, season pass. They got these 3. It says 2 DLC. Maybe they meant 3, because I see 3 DLC.
I can go on a limb and show my age as well too, but I kind of preferred when games just had expansions, where you play the game. The game was designed to have a beginning and an end.
Yeah,
and then if the developers saw another storyline that they could add to it,
right,
which was pretty much just as long as the original game, they would create that and say, hey, here's the Brood War expansion, right, which was like a full freaking game, but it would just call it expansion because it just expanded on what was already the world that was already created.
And Wolfenstein did that with the Old Blood. It was a full game that they sold separately. That was an expansion. But they are deciding to go this AAA garbage marketing route of what you see in the other traditional garbage. Let's label it Ubisoft. Yeah, Ubisoft route of like, hey, would you like some creamer in that coffee? Would you like some more sugar in that coffee? Would you like a refill? Yeah. Would you like some butternut squash cookies? It's like, what? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I think anybody that knew that studied like capitalism and business on a whole knew that that was going to happen to gaming eventually.
Oh yeah.
Because like I can remember years ago, like I was like 13 years old, and I traveled to another Caribbean island called Guyana, and like where I am here now, and most people anywhere in you know larger countries as well too. You go and buy a drink, like that's when you used to buy a drink in a bottle, and you'd be like, I don't want to drink from the bottle because like the stoppers might have like rust or something on the top.
Okay.
So you get a straw. So you buy a drink. Oh, here's your straw. All right, thanks. Or even no, you go and buy a smoothie, you get a straw. But when I went and bought it, I was like, oh cool. And I reached for the straw, and the lady told me, oh that's something amount extra. I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
So you're selling this, so then I have to pay extra to get this thing for what should normally.
We realized it was a convenience to you, and therefore something that we could make money off of.
Exactly. So it was only a matter of time before.
Would you like 2 squares of toilet paper?
Yeah. But not just 2 squares, but would you like an extra? Would you like an extra play?
Yeah, exactly.
So
would you like a spritz down yonder? What? Whoa!
Before you know you're passing your ankles, you better.
Yeah, before you know it, there's a hand reach. Whoa! Would you like us to wipe for you? A hand comes out. Jesus Christ! All right. Oh
but yeah, man. So it was only a matter of time before they said, you know what, this expansion things we could do is take this and break this into even more. Like the classic example of that, and I don't know how many people got pissed off about it, but that completely stopped me from buying StarCraft 2.
Oh yeah.
When they said,
they broke everything up.
Coming out.
That rubbed me the wrong way by far. Yeah.
Then they were like, you know what? No, you start off as humans, and then you gotta buy the Zerg pack, and then you gotta buy the Protoss. But I was like, are you fucking kidding me? How much money do you want?
So yeah, I was like, they better be like absolutely fully developed separate games, unlike how you gave us one game and start with StarCraft. Yeah.
Yeah, they were just emissions.
Yeah, that's some bullshit. That was, and I still bought the first one because of how many hours I put into StarCraft and StarCraft Brood War, which is innumerable because it was years worth, But I also played games a lot longer back then than I do now. The market is flooded. It is absolutely flooded, and there's so many games. I haven't even touched Dead Cells. Dead Cells looks like a game that I would massively enjoy. The problem is I haven't learned how to equate or how to convert time spent playing video games into cash money. So, and I live as a human being that needs money in order to function in the world. So, yeah, unfortunately, if I had like a size of double D's or something, maybe I could do better on Twitch, but is this not the case? Or if I just had a good attitude. But then you have people like Dr. Disrespect that have a bad attitude. So once you go and it goes back to what I was saying. It's nothing about like that, but more about an unbalanced character. If you are balanced more one way than another, you'll probably do pretty okay because you're more of an entertaining type of figure. So the problem is I'm not pissing enough people off or making enough people laugh. That's really what it is.
Yeah, you need to get back on Twitter.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm going to do a real good job there. Oh, man. But, yeah, Wolfenstein, I don't know, man. Feels money. Feels money, man. Feels marketing Joe marketing got in there. Mm-hmm. So, and really did a number on them. So, yeah, let's talk about, well, I got 2 more things. I want to get one out of the way before we talk about the other that I have. But if you have other stuff too, let me know. Because
the only other thing I have is Fortnite because we both played it.
Oh, good. Okay, good. That's where I got as well. Mm-hmm. Before we get there, just a quick one. We're coming up to 2 hours anyways. That's good. I like this. Overwatch will start punishing bad behavior more harshly. Among the things that qualify are abusive chat. Your mother was a snowblower, right? Harassment, in-game spam, match inactivity, being intentionally AFK, I gotta pee, and griefing. So these are, oh man, how do you qualify bad behavior? Subjective, objective. I would say that it's one of those things where I think we all have to agree. It's like that guy that I was talking about on Twitter about like level of skill. You know, I said the word pleb and he's stuck on the word pleb. And I'm like, calm down. There are levels of ability. If you can't jump on a mushroom in Mario, you're a pleb. I'm sorry. That's if you can't jump over a simple plant that's chomping, you're a fucking pleb. That's just, I mean, there's got to be there is a scale of skill to smooth out all of the challenges is making it for plebs. That's just what it is, or casuals as you want to, as it's called, you know. And I play some games casual. There's nothing absolutely wrong with that. So bad behavior also has to have a scale, right? But abusive chat, how do you qualify abusive chat, right? I think that we all kind of know of one. I guess how would you say that? How would you say that? There is a lot of people that would consider some chat to be specifically abusive. That's the majority, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's other people that live in that kind of thing that don't either. Because they live in it and they want it to continue to be a thing, they're always going to argue that, well, what do you qualify as abusive? Maybe it's, like they'll argue against it because they don't want to see what they find to be fun taken away. Yeah, policing attitude is dumb and wasteful. It's hard, Rakshaw, is what it is. It's hard, and people don't like doing hard jobs. That's the fact. And it is a very difficult decision to make because the voices that you hear on the internet are not indicative of every player out there. Those are only the ones that are yelling. And just because 5 people are yelling and one person is calmly talking doesn't mean that the 5 people yelling are in the right. They're just loud.
Also doesn't mean that they're wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't mean they're wrong either.
Be yelling. Yeah, they might be yelling some things that they want people to do.
Mm-hmm.
You might just see that as them being overly aggressive and negative to you, but they might just be telling you, no, dude, you're fucking up. You really should do this instead. It would really help. It would make you better. Mm-hmm. And somebody might be calling me saying,
that's harassment then.
Yeah, I don't know, but then this sense of somebody could calmly just be saying, you guys could just eat a bag of dicks. Now, there are people that can calmly just insult you. It's like you're the worst player I've ever met. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anybody as incompetent as you. I mean, there's a 6-year-old that can probably play this game better than you. My mother can probably, and they could just go on a full calm rant and just degrade you in every way possible. But so it's kind of hard to gauge and figure out.
It is. Abusive chat's hard. Harassment is not as hard, I think, because harassment is a continuous. Yeah, it's continuous. It's easy to see the data points there. In-game spam, I would say, is also kind of easy. It's clearly just like somebody, spamming the same thing over and over or something. I mean, that's kind of hard to but then there's some people that might say that let's say, Phil, you have good direction in a game and you're trying to give that, and someone else is like, you're just spamming the chat and we need to be playing, so who knows? Mm-hmm. It's all, once again, that's kind of like, that's on the whoa, how do you how do you determine that? A match inactivity, well, it's like you said, you have that one friend that he's got kids to take care of, and he gets punished for match inactivity for throwing the initial startups of games, or let's say you got to pee, or hey, maybe you have to take care of something like somebody's burglaring you. I don't know. Beats me. Shit happens with inactivity is what it comes down to, right? So that's going to happen, and then griefing is pretty straightforward. That one is I'm going to turn to my team player and kill them. It's harder to point out player versus player griefing, because the whole point of player versus player is player versus player. And so I've heard other players in let's say Paragon, for example, where they talk about like high level players that there will like, let's say there's one high level player that's got like, he's like esports level, that he will lock on to one player on the opposing team and kill that person over and over exclusively. Like, will not kill anyone else, just ruin that person's day, because they know that the mental effect it has can spread on the team, that person can then break down and then help to break down the other side too, mentally, because of their complaining, whining. Yeah. Why aren't you helping me with this? See this guy, you know? So
it's a strategy.
Yeah, it's an actual look, wars are not won because people are killed specifically. Wars are won because of the people that are left alive that are in fear. It's mental, you know? And it seems crazy. It seems crazy, right? It's like, well, no, that's not true, because people are literally killed and that's a body count. It's true, but it's the people left over that make the determination of of who wins the war. And those are usually like, okay, all right, you killed enough people. We're done. You know, that's what it is. Hardly ever is you have to wipe out an entire, like, you know, population or whatever. And even if that's the case, usually they don't want to go down. I mean, they don't want that to happen either, so they're going to give up too. So anyways, that aside, that's going to be fucking hard for them to do.
Yeah, but to even like how you mentioned Paragon, you actually mentioned Paragon too, because
yes,
it'd be hard. They have a thing in there where they say, you know, this person intentionally sabotaged. Now, you put up a clip recently where the what was it, the Grux or whatever, charged out while you clicked to pull them back out as they phase.
Oh yeah, I would have been marked as intentionally sabotaging. Yep.
Yeah, but you didn't purposely do it. So I think in those instances too, it needs to be something where you actually monitor the person's activities. Like, do they constantly do this?
Well, this is how
as opposed to
this
just
is
saying,
handled.
You did it once, so you're going to get punished.
This is how it's handled. It's handled by you're correct. It's handled by reports. It happens in Paragon. How many people get reported a certain number of times over a certain period of time is how they determine who they're going to punish. So that's how I see Overwatch is going to do it. Now, I've never played Overwatch, but I assume that they have the same type of system. In fact, they even said that they're now actually going to be doing what Paragon's doing currently, which is reporting to you when somebody has been, you know, basically taken out for whatever reason. Paragon has it. They make a joke of it because they're gamers too. They're like, the Paragon PD, you know, caught somebody thanks to your help. And so I guess Overwatch never did that before. So now they're going to be letting people know, hey, you did something good that helped because enough people agreed with you that this person was a piece of garbage. So, you know, the downside to that is you have you have then opened the door to people that want to intentionally do that to another player. Hey, everybody in my clan, there's 20 of us, right? Let's all, anytime we get in a match with this one person, we're going to mark him as being toxic for whatever reason. And they're going to have to sort it out later. But in the meantime, we just trolled him again. So, you know, it's just, so yes. But the thing is, do you not do this because of those instances that could happen? No, you go forward with the plan because the odds that that's going to happen are way lower than the good that it's actually going to bring, you know? So, yeah, it is hard. It's a hard job, and people don't like doing hard work. So,
yeah, the key thing about it, though, is that it can't be automated. There needs to be a human element.
There has to be some review process, correct?
Yeah, because like you said, people can abuse the automation, but then if a human can, but that's where another problem comes. Is the players know, are you going to allocate the resources, proper enough resources to actually monitor the reports?
Probably not.
No.
So it's going to be automated. No. I can guarantee that because too many of those are going to come up. What the human side of it is going to come up from the, why did this happen to me? You know, the person that actually goes to hit up, you know, support and say, hey, this happened and it shouldn't have happened. You know, I got banned for whatever amount of time and that shouldn't have happened, you know. That's where the human aspect comes into it. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be automated because it's too much. Look, Overwatch is too big of a game You know, Paragon is still too big of a game. Too many reports coming in.
Oh yeah.
You know, it has to be automated.
Millions of people playing.
And that's why it has to be information aggregated over time, too. If they do this based off of like a week, that's still not enough. I think that it could not come into effect until enough gameplay has shown, you know, like to me, I would need like 3 months or something like that to see behavior. If in 3 months it's consistent, then I would absolutely, you know, bring something down. But, you know, and people think that's too long until it happens to them. You know, what if false reports happen? So to me, you go forward with it, but you err on the side of caution too. So, but that's something they would have to tweak as well. Maybe 1 month is good enough, you know, depending on playtime. That's another big thing too. So there's a lot of factors. It's not an easy thing. It is not, but it's just like security with internet stuff, and just like why security for internet stuff is not very good, because it's a hard job and people don't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the effects are fucking horrendous. So do the hard job and pay for it.
And there's also the other side of that.
Yeah.
And the other part of that spectrum too, there are people that do want to pay for it, but then when they see how much they got to pay, it's like, I can't afford that.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, no. Good intentions all the time, Phil. Good intentions, always. Oh, I want to make sure, but I'd love if no one had to pay for, you know, medical bills if they got cancer, because cancer's not, you know, whatever. It can happen to anyone. But I still need to make money. So, yeah, we had that whole discussion the other night about how fucked up medical is. You know, good intentions all the way through, but if you got to die, motherfucker, because you ain't got the money, then fucking die. So that's a reality of life. Does not give a shit about you. About that gallows humor, Rackshaw. Yeah. Yeah, when you've seen enough bad and you've experienced enough bad, quote unquote bad, you have to have it, I think. You don't have to. I think some people can get away with it and be saintly. But that's however my brain is wired, and however it got wired, and however it got influenced, and however it comes from, whatever you want to put on that. Some people nature, nurture. I believe it's both. That's how mine goes. That's what mine goes to.
I think dark comedy is just raw comedy. Comedy in its rawest form.
It's dealing with it directly.
Most, if not almost, all comedy comes from tragedy.
Pain. Yep.
Yeah, tragedy, some sort of pain, and it's just a way of, all right, how am I gonna filter this down so it's a bit more presentable for a wider audience, or am I just gonna drop it raw? Yep. You know. So I think all comedy is dark. It's just a matter of how you present it that determines how dark it's really gonna be. Yeah. A lot of comedians use the stage as group therapy. I went out with this girl and she was a real bitch. Or then someone says, well, you remember that Hitler guy, you know, then, you know, both are bad situations. However, one is going to be worse. And so
it's the stupidity of it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or I went into Starbucks, you know, you had a bad situation in Starbucks. It always ties in with something not so great happening, but you found something funny in it. Right. And
I think now what I see sometimes on the internet is the acceptance of that type of attitude of how people can hyperbolically make a situation that's a standard every day, like the Starbucks saying, oh, they didn't put sugar, it became the worst thing, you know. That is a misuse of that coping mechanism. Comedy can be kind of a coping mechanism. It's a watering down of something that can be quality. I'm not saying you can't use it. You know, that's silly. Why the fuck would anybody? You can do whatever the fuck you want. Clearly, people do whatever the fuck they want. But I think that it then leads to what we have now on the internet of everything becoming like a disaster or the best thing ever. And, that kind of sickens me. But it is what it is, you know? You know, it's like, you know, the Destiny 2 thing that I was talking about in the beginning, to bring it back. My whole point there was not so much that shitty players shouldn't have challenges just because they're shitty. It was more that I could see the marketing in it. Why they were doing it was not for the right reasons, in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with having a mild challenge in the beginning of a game. To take it out because it's going to smooth out the experience in order to draw in the most amount of players, go fuck yourself. A video game should have some challenges. And this other guy trying to say, some people are not good at platformers. That's fine. Destiny's not a platformer. It has a mild jumping challenge. Deal with it. It's part of the game. It's not like I said, it's not a Super Meat Boy type challenge. That is an extreme version of platforming. Destiny is a shooter, but it's still not the most difficult shooter out there either. So trying to point to Destiny as if you can't play Destiny, then you can't play, or if you can play Destiny, you can play Arma. Go fuck off. That's not true at all. The controls in Arma are it's like playing QWOP, or something to walk. It's not the same at all. You can't compare them. There are definite levels.
And I agree with you too. I played Arkham Knight, Batman Arkham Knight, and there were a set of challenges that you had to do story wise. Some you could do optionally, but it was where you had to use the Batmobile to solve Riddler challenges, and some of them were racing, and I completely sucked at them. The first few were easy, and I was like, oh yeah, I can get through these. And as it started to get tougher, I was like, I fucking hate these. You could ask, if I ever introduced you to another friend of mine, he was online with Discord with me when I was talking about it. He was like, Phil, you should probably stop playing the game now.
Yeah, you can get really salty, dude. I know, I've heard. Yeah.
I was like, no, fuck, this is stupid. What the fuck would they put this in the game? This doesn't work properly. I'm gonna beat it. That was my mentality. I played it. I got frustrated for probably I did that same challenge for probably about an hour until I finally beat it. And I was like, yeah, fuck you. And I was giving it the game the middle finger and everything, and then moved on. And you know what? The rest of the game, I had a blast.
Yeah.
But I was so should they take that out of the game because it pissed me the fuck off? No. Because I'm sure there's probably tons of other people that are like, oh man, love these Riddler challenges.
Right.
I mean,
it's a game. Everybody. It shouldn't be vanillaware. It shouldn't be everything for everyone, And because I recognize that marketing tactic, that's what I was getting at. And people can argue from, whatever direction, saying but we want to bring in, if you want to bring in a lot of players, make a quality video game. Don't base the merits of it of the quality of the game based on the ease of it. That's like saying I'm a quality human being to date because it's easy to date me. That's what? That doesn't exactly. Those don't. I mean, it's nice to date someone that doesn't complain on a lot and stuff and whatever. But does that exactly mean that's the basis for which you determine that's a quality human?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then there's also the other thing too, where they could have taken that out of the game because of people like me, and then I played the game and I'll be like, oh, it was a fun game, but it was kind of easy.
Right.
That's the next reaction you're gonna get.
And some people might have found that part easy, and some people might have quit there. But what's wrong with that? There are many games I haven't beat, and some people pride themselves on the amount of games they beat. A lot of the games I played were back when we didn't have Steam. Those games were fucking hard. They started you at the beginning of the goddamn... It didn't matter if you were 3 chapters in sometimes. For some of them, you're at the beginning of the fucking part of the game. It's like, oh my God, I hate my life. Yes, you did. I'm going to do it again. Because it then became a challenge. And personally, I'm very stubborn. So it fit well with my mentality to play those kind of games because I knew when to give up, but no longer cared. I determined I was going to not let a computer beat me. A little unbalanced, but at the same time, it's character building, and it shows a bit of character when you are like, I'm going to take this what seems like impossible challenge on. Once again, there's challenge, and then there's Rock Band, drum set, Dark Souls player. That's kink. All right, people. That's not that's kink. That's something that guy. He's got to have goats nibbling on his balls in order to get hard. That's the guy. That's the kind of guy. You know. That's yeah. That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's some people that'll be like, yeah, I beat the game in 30 minutes. Sorry, no, I beat the game in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did you beat it playing with your toes?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You're like,
Stop.
you look across like, what? What the fuck would I do that?
There's someone
Because
out there that did it. Did you beat it by clenching and unclenching your buttocks on the controls? What? Yeah. Shit. Exactly. Oh, man. Time to do more squats. Got to get them butt hards. What? All right. Fortnite?
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently it sold at least 500,000 copies already, which is a lot.
Really?
It's not 5 million, but it's 500,000. That's an appreciable amount of copies. Even though even though people know it's going to be free next year, early next year, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that's not true. I'm pulling the early next year part from Paragon because they're both Epic released games.
Yeah. They did say just next year.
Yeah, that's correct.
They didn't say specifically when next year.
So it has sold 500,000 copies, even though the standard version is $40. The deluxe is $60, and the super deluxe is $80, and the limited is $150. This is in U.S. American dollars, so I don't know what that equates to in other countries. But I'm sorry, I'm being currencyist. Apparently,
I believe in pounds is like $45 for the base or something like that.
Oh,
So it's a
okay.
little bit more dollar. Well, of course, their whole breaking out from the EU thing made their dollar value like kind of go down, so things are a bit more expensive. So yeah.
Yeah, it would have been $45. Yeah, which is less than the. Actually, that's more than the standard $40. I thought the. No, never mind. I don't want to get into that. So yeah. So let's say let's do some quick maths here. 500,000. Well, let's do 500,000 times what? 40. So that's $20 million that they've made.
And that's very underestimated because even Watusi bought. Which one did he buy? Did he buy the Super Deluxe? I know people bought the Super Deluxe.
I'm not sure.
I know people that bought the limited edition one.
Right. Yeah, that's why I probably didn't say it, but that's at least $20 million. I should have meant. Yeah, at least $20 million that they made.
Yeah, so that's a very safe estimate.
Granted, the game has been apparently in production for like 5 years or some shit. Who knows? Maybe 10.
Yeah.
I don't know. And boy, does it look like it. It's got so many systems on menus and whatever in there that it looks like they just kept adding. And every time I play it, I'm like, I don't even know what to do. There's so much. There's so much here. There's menus and menus in menus, and it's quite expansive. But they did make a game that has a lot to it. So props to them for not having a stripped down version of a what they refer to as a I talked about this on the other podcast with the MVP, just the most basic stripped down buggy version so people could see something. No, the game runs pretty well. I don't think I've had any performance issues with it. 60 frames per second. Runs pretty well, looks fine. I don't care for the art style, but it looks good. The matchmaking stuff, like, friends list and all that works fine. There was no issues there. There's a lot of things to do as far as that's concerned. Collecting, objectives. There's base building. There's actual action-related things with shooting and melee. There's little...
loot.
Oh, yeah. Crap load of loot. There's in-game currency stuff as well. So there's, loot loot llamas that, you know, basically loot boxes. But they, instead of just going, we're going to make loot boxes, you know, they're like, we're going to make piñatas. But they didn't want to do that, say that word. So they said, we're going to make llamas, which is a little bit easier. And also internet likes llamas for some fucking reason. I don't know why. So
and it's also two L's, loot llama.
Loot llama. There you go. So yeah, it's just, but if they would have made piñatas, they could have made a whole bunch of different times. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Interesting enough, though, on the site, they do call them loot piñata packs.
Oh, well, there you go.
So
cool.
I don't know, but in game, they're loot llamas.
Yeah, they could, and they also could have made them more than like one hit. Like you could beat the hell out of it. Anyways, okay, so the already judgy.
The interesting thing though, like it probably hasn't happened to you yet though, but they do happen to be more than one hit. What happens that if you hit it and it doesn't break?
Oh, I had one of those.
Next tier of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Silver and gold and platinum or something like that. So
now that I remember, I had one that had like a metal lock on it or something like that, a metal wrapping. That's true. I did have one. It was like, oh, this next one's gonna hurt or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the dialogue is very cutesy, funny. Think Borderlands, kind of like, you know, like a snarky. Not snarky. No, not exactly. It is a silly and cute and smart, but I wouldn't say it's snarky. Snarky, it adds in a little bit of a mean factor to it, which I don't think this has. This is very positive and, you know, it's very much, it wants you to play with other people. So if you're antisocial, I think you could still play by yourself because you get like base defenders that you can build up as well. You can level up your, you know, like your minions basically. So you get all kinds of different things like missions that you can send them out on. There are so many. Basically, this game tries to stuff a bunch of other games inside of itself. Yeah, it's going to roll up all the other little balls and put them into one ball. So yeah, games. When I said
and
balls, I was saying games.
It does it well.
Yeah, I can't really criticize it other than, you know, and I put a disclaimer for Watusi because Watusi gave me a code so I could play it. And, you know, I was like, I can't not have an opinion. And I always tell people, don't give me a free game because I'm probably going to hurt your feelings because you're going to feel like, why? How can he say that ungrateful bastard? How dare he? I gave it to him for free. I'm never going to, exactly. I warned you, never give me a game. I said it up front. Okay. That out of the way. It's not really grabbing my attention as a game. There's a lot to it. Yes. The art style has never been something that I really enjoyed. I can appreciate it, but I don't really enjoy it. That's a personal preference. I trend towards more realistic stuff. I don't need hyper realistic. I don't even need perfectly realistic. I just trend towards more realism. And I also trend towards more technological, complex, or futuristic and clean. Mechanical. Yes, I'm very much like that futurist type stuff. Dark. Part of the 90s thing that kind of rubbed off on me. Everything was dark and gritty, you know, and I got tired of it back then too. But the point being is it's a little bit opposite of what I normally would like. I don't like overly colorful, cartoonish type of stuff. Outside of that, doesn't hinder my gameplay or my enjoyment of the gameplay. But there's so much to do in the game as well. You go out in a mission and you're just like loot. You're looking for loot from everything. You go to a bush. You go to a fucking shoe can. I don't know. Fucking shoe can. Do those things exist? Yes, they do, I think. You find loot everywhere in houses, on the side of a cliff. It's just, and even in the environment, there's a little like mini games to play, you know, and even breaking down things has a mini game in it where you strike a wall and it pops up like a little circular target. And if you hit that target, it helps you to break down that wall or whatever it is quicker. But that target moves every time you hit it. So it then becomes a mini game of hit the fucking moving target. So, you know, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that's what that is. So
it kind
you
of
get the
takes
idea
away
that it
from just being
layers
boring of
on
hitting one spot.
things. It just layers it on, Hey, yo, dog, I heard you like games in your game, so I made games in your game so you could have games all up in them games. Exactly. So that's what it seems like to me. There's so much to it. There's so much that on my own I would probably be more overwhelmed than welcomed on my own. So I definitely think that it's something that you should play with other people, because there's just a lot skill sets to buy, and there's things to collect and things to create and things to farm, like literally go out and grab stuff and loot it. So much.
Yeah, honestly, I enjoy it. I like all the different characters and what they can and can't do, or their specialties. You don't like the look because that doesn't appeal to you, but I like
personal preference.
I kind of, yeah, exactly.
Right. That I
like
can appreciate
personally.
Right.
Yeah, because personally, I like things that are done kind of animated but cartoonish, but have a slight adult theme to it.
Right. Yeah, it's not too cartoonish. That's for sure. It's not like childish.
Which is why I like the movie Incredibles. Because you got like that, like, especially you got the Samuel Jackson character, "Woman, where's my super suit?" That kind of thing that like as an adult you're gonna get that. As a little kid, you'd be like, but you don't really know the joke behind that. That's
you just know it seems over the top and silly. Yeah. As a kid.
So I like that appeals to me. I like the gathering. It doesn't feel like you're not forced to do anything too. Like there's some games that say, "Oh, well, you got a timer." The only time you get a timer is when you actually start it, and then you might have a timer in between rounds. But you got plenty of time to just set up, do what you want to do. You can even go and do some of those base missions, set up stuff, and then quit out. And all that stuff is saved, so you can say, I just want to add some more fortifications, and then I'll leave, and I'll come back and I'll do the actual mission. So it's a bit more relaxed. It definitely has a very social aspect to it.
Yes.
Which I like too, because it's a base defense game, and having friends that can help out doing, defend your base or something.
Yes.
Random.
That is its absolute strength, and I almost, I strongly urge people to play it with other people. I almost feel like it is a mistake to play it by yourself.
Yeah, which is why they probably had like those specific packages, like how like Watusi was able to buy it, and they have a copy of the game to give to you.
I didn't know how he had a copy. I was like, I thought he just got a key code somewhere from. I don't know how things happen.
No, like from the Super Deluxe Edition,
he had some extra codes.
You get one extra code.
Gotcha.
And then the other one gives you 2 extra codes. So it's like the game does everything to encourage you to play with friends.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying it. I like it. I like the different, like I said before, I like the different classes. And I'm not surprised that it's doing well. I can also see the benefit in buying the different founders packages as opposed to waiting for it to, if you want to wait to have it free to play, obviously it depends on your budget. So if you don't have the budget for it, then I don't think you're going to miss out anything. But buying in the founders packages, you also get you can buy packages where you could get all the heroes, so you get to test them out and figure out which ones you kind of like and how you can try to do things with different ones. But not having that, I got the basic standard package that you got, and you get different heroes. You're not going to get, if you get the limited edition one, then you get legendary versions of those characters, which will probably take you and me way long to get them. So if you want to skip that, and if you got limited amount of time, then you could always go for those packages. So I can see how it works from those different perspectives. And honestly, I can fully understand why people are buying it beforehand, because some people were waiting for this game for years. And it's also kind of it's not one of those buy into the game kind of gimmicks, buy in early and get this stuff. It's more like you're paying for convenience with the founders packages. So if you can afford that level of convenience, I can easily recommend, if it is the kind of game for you, buy the founders pack rather than wait if you have the money. But if you don't, wait, it'll be free to play and everybody get a chance at it.
Yeah. I think that I probably will enjoy the game more when it's much further along.
Yeah,
You know.
the difficulty level early on, and that's probably something that might change as well too as the game goes on. Because like we were talking about the menu sections as well.
Yeah.
Things aren't exactly laid out the best. But
As a user interface guy, like, you know, for part of what I do as my job, I found that to be ridiculous. There were so many. It became like, you know, there is definitely a need for a hierarchy of information highlighting that doesn't currently exist. That's not true. There is a hierarchy of information there per page per section. It just needs to be better because they have a lot of data and they have a lot of ways that you can access that data, and that structural wireframe needs to be worked out. But I think that sometimes when you work on things like this, it's such a long play on the game already, development-wise. I don't know what their development was like, you know? So they may have had systems in there that they're like, well, we can do this way or we can do it this way, but we can't do it exactly that way as far as presenting information when it comes to menu systems and all that. From an outside perspective, I can talk shit all I want, but I have to put in there, I don't know what their development was like. So
yeah, and I know that they definitely had like different stages of work on the UI already, because if you look at some of the stuff that actually kind of points out in the game, like, oh well, you go to this section and you do that. Like some things, if you mouse over it, will bring up like a little window. I can't remember which sections, but I've done it before. And when I see when they highlight what you're supposed to do, it actually doesn't look like the same UI.
Oh, they haven't changed out that internal media. Okay.
Yeah. It looks similar, but it looks like, oh, this was done prior to what's currently there now. So
you could probably find examples online, I bet, too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But one thing that I really do like, besides like the whole like how the game functions and in terms of the mechanics, is how easy it is to get into a game with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing how hard it is to do seems really difficult, and I've heard it is not an easy thing to do to create what's it in games where basically you have that connectivity between playing with your friends. That seems to be something that
it's always an issue with games.
Always an issue. And off the bat, I don't know if it's because they have like Paragon and other games. No, as a game developer, if you have other games that have done that stuff well, you can just pull from that, you know, info and make your. I don't know if that's what it did, but it just works seamlessly. Like I've never had any issues getting into games, and I'm playing with people that live in England, people that live in Ireland, you that live in US, and I live in Barbados. So they did an excellent job with that. So
yeah, matchmaking works.
Yeah. I'm pleased with it. It actually is better than I expected, because I had my expectations set pretty low. Based on like some other games that I have been testing out, like with their early access recently.
Yep. I was looking up the info about the Twitch. There's also a Twitch integration for people that stream. And as a Twitch streamer, while you're streaming, if you complete one of these Twitch quests, that then opens up Twitch quests for viewers and subs. Subs get better rewards than the viewers would because they're subs and cooler and more amazing and all. Now I'm going to be an asshole, right? No, I'm just kidding. They just decided that, and it makes sense, you know, to do that.
They're supportive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're supportive. So they wanted to give them a little bit more, but it has to be done within that time period of the person streaming, and actually not within the person streaming, but it has to be done within apparently a 4-hour window or something like that. But what we haven't been able to find out is, it says it's supposed to indicate that on the stream, you know, but I've not yet to see that happen. And myself and Watusi have tried that out because he's a sub on the channel, and we haven't seen any notification of that. So I'm curious. I want to go look into that to see where it would notify. Either, I'm assuming in my game, because they don't have access to my OBS, so they can't like just display something out of nowhere, you know. So it would have to be somewhere on my screen that says Watusi has finished Twitch, you know, quest or whatever. I don't know where that happens, but that'd be interesting to find out. I do think that it's interesting that they're actually going ahead with that integration, which makes sense. They know that they want this something to be promoted on Twitch, and they know interactivity on Twitch is an important thing. And they also chose Twitch. They didn't choose Microsoft's whatever the fuck they're calling their new streaming service.
Beam,
anyways.
I think it is.
It's not Beam anymore, though. It's like something else.
All right.
I think
the streaming application formerly known as Beam.
Formerly known as Beam, right, exactly. But never anywhere fucking cool as Prince. Yeah. So, which is true. The Jews was fucking cool as fuck. So, yeah. But anyways, I think that's good. It's important that they did that. They know their audience. They know what they were looking to the future for this kind of thing, and that's good. I'm just very curious about the notification thing. I really wish I could find out about that.
I have a strong feeling that it just pulls from Twitch's API. The game probably just constantly pings that for information, and that it probably sends information from the person playing it to Twitch's API, and then Twitch's API probably pulls. That's the only thing I could think of. That's the easiest thing that they could do.
Gotcha.
But I am not a programmer, so completely ignore everything I just said, because a programmer could come and say, he's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So, yeah.
Yeah. I know that they couldn't just drop text into the chat because they would have to have a bot there to do that. Paragon does that with their Paragon bot, where it drops in and then it starts giving out rewards. It would have to be something that is notification in the UI for the game itself of the streamer. That's how it would happen.
Mm-hmm.
In chat right now, I just threw out a bunch of games that I have that I had some stuff for like Twitch subs and all that, and they got what they wanted, and I just put that in chat right now. If anybody wants that, you've got some time to look over that list for hanging out in the B3 Twitch live stream while it's going on. If you see anything there that you want, you can just whisper that to me or tell me later. There's no specific time frame on that. I'll just give you that. Don't mind. But be aware that I am also trying to give that away on my normal Twitch channel. And that's really for anybody, not just really, I just have stuff that I think is like sitting there and I kind of want to get rid of it. That's pretty much it.
And
for me.
Not only are you giving away games, one of those games that you're giving away, you're actually giving away someone to play with that game, because Rackshaw says in chat that he'll play with somebody who gets it. He wants somebody. So you're not only getting the game, but you're getting someone to play it with.
We're giving away one of the B3 gaming group people, Rackshaw. He has a game. So if you get the right game as a secret reward, you also get Rackshaw with the game. So he's asking to play with someone. So I'm not going to tell you which game, because that's the game. Everything's a game. Yo dog, or do you like games? So just like Fortnite, it's a game within a game. So
and it comes with a gamer.
And it comes with a gamer, but that's a secret reward. It's a Twitch streamer reward for being a follower of the B3 GamingCast. Okay, That's all, unless you got anything else to say about Fortnite. It's a lot. I need to give it time. I've played it 3 times. My initial assessment of it is it's overwhelming. I wouldn't play it on my own. It's not normally the art style that I really enjoy looking at. Speaking of looking at, it got some fat-ass booties in it. And it's got a lot to the game. There's so much to it that for me to make any kind of judgment on it now feels wrong. I could never tell anybody what they would like to play. But those are the basic properties that I have there. There is, like I said, crafting. There is some action-oriented third-person stuff that even includes some sniping that is first-person in those instances. There's some melee. What else? Looting. There's a lot. There's a lot to the game. Very Borderlands-ish style, but more on the side of clean graphics. Borderlands is a little dirty, which is probably why I like it a bit more in some ways. But anyways, that's a lot. That's a lot of info. Go look up gameplay on your own and make a determination. You're a human being with a brain that you can use. So thanks for listening to the podcast once again. Thanks, Phil, for doing this again. I think we had a great podcast. I appreciate when we have our time together, sir. But
that sounds so formal.
well, I can't help it. Like I said, I'm actually a very boring, respectful person with old-fashioned sensibilities in real life. So I know. It's so counter to everything that everyone knows about me in video game lands. But we're out of here. Thanks for hanging out. And Graham, by the way, got eaten by like sharks or Kraken shark hybrid. I can't remember which one. No, he's out killing zombos, like for real. Like he's actually out killing zombies, which is cool as fuck. Some kind of like zombie event where they get to shoot them with like airsoft guns, I think, or something like that. I'm not kidding. So
team members are the best, man. Not only are we gaming or giving our services to game with you, but we're protecting the world.
Protecting the world. He's probably getting that 6,000 point reward. You know he's doing good. He's like, wait, I can't use this. Do you got a controller? Oh, shit. I'm fucking around. All right, we will see y'all later. Have a good one. Did I forget anything? I feel like I forgot something. Anyways.